Melta grew out of two earlier organizations, the English Language Teaching Association. Welcome to Melta, the Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, a center of interaction and inspiration for English language stakeholders across the nation. The Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, Melta, is a voluntary, not-for-profit professional organization which was officially formed in 1982. Melta grew out of two earlier organizations, the English Language Teaching Association and the Selangor English Language Teaching Association. Since then, Melta has gone through many changes, accommodating itself to the needs of the nation's English language stakeholders. The objectives of the association are to provide a forum for the discussion of issues in English language education, to contribute towards the advancement of standards in English language education in Malaysia, and to organize seminars, courses, lectures, and other appropriate activities to promote continuous professional development among Malaysian teachers. Melta's diverse programs serve every facet of English language education, from community outreach to specialized training programs, research symposiums, and publishing initiatives. For example, the Melta International Conference. There are also many exciting programs led by the Melta chapters across the nationwide. Recognizing excellence, Melta celebrates achievements with prestigious awards, such as Beyond Chalk and Talk Awards, and the Malachi Edwin Creative Teacher Showcase Award. Join us in our journey to make a meaningful impact on English language education. Let's inspire, innovate, and achieve excellence together.
Hello, good morning everyone, and welcome to the first ever I Teach Colloquium brought to you by Melta Perak chapter. I'm Evelyn Lim from SMK Samtet Ipoh, and I will be the MC for today. First off, just as you watched the video just now, or maybe you came in a bit late and you're not very familiar with Melta, let me give you a very brief introduction. Melta stands for Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, which was established in the year 1982, with the main objective of promoting the teaching and learning of English in Malaysia. Melta Perak chapter comes under the big umbrella of Melta Malaysia. As such, the Melta Perak chapter committee would like to offer our heartfelt thanks for the continuous support of Melta Malaysia in making this colloquium a reality. Now, a little bit about our colloquium today. It is actually Melta Perak chapter's second event for this year, following the I Teach Innovation Competition, which was held from the 24th of May to 15th of June. Despite organizing this competition for the first time ever, we are excited to have received overwhelming submissions from English teachers, not just within Malaysia, but outside Malaysia as well. And at the end of this colloquium, we will review the results of this competition. So make sure you stay tuned with us until the end. Yeah. Now, if you want to have a look at the tentative program for today, we will post the link for the e-booklet soon in the comment section, so you can click on it to have a look at what we have arranged for you today. We have a few interesting sessions and forums lined up for you with distinguished speakers who have many years of experience in their field, sharing their thoughts with us on some very current educational issues. Now, Before we proceed with the events of the day, allow me a few more minutes to brief you on some important matters to take note. Number one, a Google Form link for your attendance will be given at the end of the colloquium. So please fill up the form, and a digital certificate of participation will be sent to the email address you have provided in the form. Now, please take note that all Malaysian teacher participants will be eligible for SPL KPM credits, so don't forget to fill up the form, yeah? Now, number two, if you have any questions or comments that you would like to ask the panel members during the session, do type them out in the chat section. Our moderators and technical personnel will highlight them for the panel members' attention. Okay, I think that's enough of me talking. But first, before we invite our Melta president to give his speech, let's hear a little bit from you. We would like to know who our participants are and where you come from. So can you please type in the comment section, maybe your name, where you're from, maybe also your position, whether you're a student, a teacher, or a lecturer, for example. Let's get to know a bit about each other first before we proceed with the session today. Well, I can see a teacher from SMK Penanti. Welcome. Cikgu Noor Ainul Fahim. Cikgu Anita. Cikgu He, welcome. Anybody else? Maybe we have participants from outside Malaysia. From SMK Bintulu, Cikgu He Wei Wei is welcome. Cikgu Shamila Supramaniam from Tanjung Malim, welcome. Good morning, Encik Warid. Oh, Hani from Vietnam, welcome. English teacher, yes. Nice to have you here. Okay, so as we go along, I guess there will be more participants, so hopefully we can hear from them as well. All right, so thank you for all your shout outs, all of you who are here. All right, we are happy to have you, and hopefully you have a very fruitful session today with all of us. Okay, so without further ado, let's start off our colloquium with the opening remarks from our Melta Malaysia President, Dr. Siva Bala Naidu. Over to you, Dr. Siva.
Hi everyone, can you hear me?
Yes, you're very clear.
A very good morning to all the participants in this I Teach Colloquium 2025. It gives me great privilege to be able to say a few words on this momentous occasion. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the Malaysian English Language Teaching Association Perak chapter for this excellent initiative to showcase innovative ELT approaches for collaborative practices, or what they call it as horizons. This is really a fantastic effort and initiative that it needs to be applauded. I'm really very pleased to take note of the initiative of the Perak chapter. For that, I must thank all the committee members headed by Dr. Mohana. Well done for this effort. To the participants, this particular event has created a platform for you to share with others the kind of practices that you have in your classroom. The post-pandemic, or the pandemic rather, has taught us that things have to change in terms of teaching. As we speak now, I just read about a wave of change in schools in Kerala, where the traditional classroom way of seating, where the teacher is in front and the students are seated in rows, are being changed. This is because the teacher, for many years now, is not a teacher anymore, but a facilitator. And this particular event has been organized to allow a platform for teachers across the region, it's in fact international, to share innovative practices so that others can emulate it. But at the same time, it's also a way for us to recognize these practices, because this is in fact a competition organized by the Malta Perak chapter. Malta, the Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, is an organization that is focused on advancing English language education in the country and in the region. And every year we organize different events. And we are grateful for chapters to also be in the same direction as us and organizing many different activities such as this one. In fact, I would like to take this opportunity to tell you that in September, on September 13 and 14, we will be having the annual international conference in Petaling Jaya. And those who are here, I would like to encourage you to come and join, because apart from opportunity for you to present papers, there's also room for you to showcase your classroom practices that are innovative. Right. On that note, I must add that in this particular competition and this colloquium has attracted people from Vietnam, Indonesia, Brunei, of course, Malaysia as well. And this is evidence that of your commitment, of English language teachers' commitment to provide the best for their English language students or their students studying English language. But remember this, that anything cannot be just one day. It has to go on. There must be sustainability in your actions. So I'd like to take this opportunity again to encourage all of you with the note that being innovative is not a one-day thing. It is a continuous thing that happens every day, every time in the classroom. Because at the end of the day, as English language teachers, our goal is to ensure that proper learning takes place for our students. And in this era of AI and digital tools, it is very important that we stay on top of our game. With that, I would like to end my opening address with, once again, with a heartfelt thank you to the members of the Malaysian English Language Teaching Association, Perak chapter, for this excellent project. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Siva, for your inspiring speech. Hopefully, with your promotion, there'll be more people joining the Malta conference. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. Now we have come to the first session of the day. The speaker for this session is Dr. Chong Soo Lee, Senior Lecturer and Manager at the Department of Education Excellence, University Technology Petronas, Malaysia. Now, Dr. Chong has been in the Malta Perak Committee for many years, and it is through Malta Perak that I got to know her. And since then, we have worked together on various Malta Perak projects. Dr. Chong has been very experienced in her field, and she has come up with a few books as well, on her area of specialty. Now, today she is here to share her thoughts with us on the topic: Is human intelligence losing to artificial intelligence? How to teach critical reading in new times. Now, without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Chong Soo Lee.
Hi, Evelyn. Good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for the introduction. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. In fact, I was wondering, should I say ladies and gentlemen, or should I say, fellow colleagues? We're all English teachers in one way, shape, or form. And I'm always very excited when I get a chance to have engagement with all my other friends who are also English teachers, who know what it's like to teach English around the world. So I'm glad for this opportunity for me to be able to share with you some of the things that I am currently doing, which, let me just share my screen. Okay, give me a moment,
Sure.
Is it coming through, Evelyn? So sorry.
Yes, it's on the screen.
Okay. All right. So When I was planning for this presentation today to talk to all of my colleagues here for 30 minutes, I asked myself what would be the most important thing and perhaps current issue to address as far as us as English teachers are concerned. For as far as I can see, artificial intelligence is one of the buzzwords that we hear today. We might think that we are English teachers. How does that link with us? It links with us because it is everywhere. It is ubiquitous. The moment we carry a handphone, the moment our children watch something on the handphone, the moment our students refer to information and draw information from the handphone, we are already navigating and negotiating with artificial intelligence. So I was just in a conference 2 days ago in Hong Kong, where the idea of digital universities, or the conference was called Digital Universities. And again, the whole 2 days, we were talking about whether or not and how artificial intelligence and these advancements of technology, how is it going to impact us? Has it already overtaken us? Is it a good thing if it overtakes us? And what implications does this have on us? So the title of my session this morning is human intelligence losing to artificial intelligence? In other words, will we become less and less intelligent, and will artificial intelligence become more and more intelligent? And how should we deal with this, or how should we manage this issue if that is the case? Yeah. So what I'm going to do in the next 25 minutes or so, and I will try to provide some time for questions. Yeah, so please do put in your questions into the YouTube chat, and we will try and come back to that by the end. I will give maybe about 5 to 10 minutes for me to try and navigate the questions. So what I'll do is I will talk about these three things. The first is artificial intelligence or human intelligence. The second is teaching critical reading in this kind of new times. And finally, a surprise. So what is artificial intelligence? I know it's very impressive. I know when we, for example, want to ask the question about perhaps which is the best methodology to use for teaching reading, for example. So if I were to go into Google and I type the question, which is the best, you will notice, I would notice that there is predictive ability. So sentences that are without us even typing in the full sentence, we already receive a predicted message or predicted sentence. Okay, so that's one form of artificial intelligence that we see, that we use every single day. We go right straight to ChatGPT, for example. Our students are using ChatGPT in some schools, maybe in universities, policies are coming into place. Are they allowed to use ChatGPT? Is it considered plagiarism? How far are they supposed to use ChatGPT, and how do we control that, right? So what is artificial intelligence? And when we navigate this on our computers and on our device, the impression that we may get is that artificial intelligence is highly intelligent. It seems to be able to read our minds. But we must understand, and we must always remember, that artificial intelligence is ultimately not real. In the conference in the last 2 days, we had top-notch technologists at the forefront of groundbreaking computer science work, who warned us that what we see on the internet and on the networks and through our phones, while it is very useful and it is amazing, it's high powered, and it will continue to be with us, and that's good. It will coexist with us, but they reminded us that it is not real. So it is important for us to understand what artificial intelligence really is. In essence, artificial intelligence, if I can maybe kind of simplify it in my kind of layman terms, is that it is simply an algorithm, and it emerged from computer scientists who were experimenting with what they call large language models. When they place corpus, which means body of texts, let's say storybooks, poems, poetry, when we place these large amounts of body of text together, what came about, which was unexpected for the computer scientists, was that the networks began to learn how to anticipate what would the next word be, because of the propensity for these sentences or the words to appear together in a syntax, right? So in essence, they are just the 1010 algorithm. They don't know. Artificial intelligence has no intelligence beyond the 1010 algorithm for it to be able to predict, right? So for example, the only way I could think of to explain this is when we teach English, for example, we would teach grammar. And for example, I would teach, let's say, using this table, and I would show the sentences that let's say we say I, then the verb am, verb to be I am a girl. So I am a girl, I am a Malaysian. Yeah. So the pattern of the sentences is repetitive, the syntax is repetitive, and that's how we teach our students. So they will read the same sentences and they just maybe replace the maybe the noun at the end. All right. So essentially, the programming is able to detect this pattern, the syntax, and simply by the frequency of this kind of syntax that happens, now the program is able to predict, and they're able to predict it ever more accurately. So again, this gives us the impression that it is intelligent, that it has a life of its own, when in fact it doesn't actually have a life of its own. All right. So just bear that in mind. Yeah. Again, artificial intelligence is really just algorithm that is working at the back end, and algorithm works because there's magic, or rather there's that connection between the algorithm and the corpus, the amount of body of text that has gone into the internet and that has given it enough, in that sense, intelligence to predict. But other than that, it is a mechanical function. All right. So that is, in a very brief form, artificial intelligence. Although we see it on the internet, we see it in our device, it looks like it's able to tell us something. On the other hand, what is human intelligence? Human intelligence is us as human beings, us rooted in our environment, us taking in our sensories reaction and making sense of this reaction, making sense of what is around us. So human intelligence is essentially critical connections rooted in human experience. Human intelligence is completely different from artificial intelligence. Without the environment around the human being, the connections cannot be made. And without the human mind, the connections also cannot be made, right? So again, human intelligence it might look similar to artificial intelligence because it produces perhaps maybe similar sentences, but the process of producing human intelligence is completely different, of a different paradigm completely to artificial intelligence, right? And that is what I would like us to be able to focus on today. What are we doing with our students, with our children, with regard to human intelligence? And are we relegating too much of our work to artificial intelligence to do the thinking, to do the connecting, instead of us having our children do the thinking and doing the connecting the way many of us perhaps grew up prior or before this technological advancement era? Yeah, we want to, in a sense, return to that era, but at the same time coexist with the amazing advancements that are around us. So how do we go about doing this? But before we go into how we want to go about doing this, I want to just point out that I think this topic is important to address because it can become dangerous. Now, don't get me wrong, artificial intelligence is amazing. It's wonderful. It's made our lives so much more convenient, and it is here to stay. So while I may have started my talk by saying, is human intelligence losing to artificial intelligence? Really, it's not about pitting one against the other. Ultimately, we need to coexist. Yeah. However, an example of how artificial intelligence could be dangerous is this. And I have come across cases of young people who today are feeling more and more isolated. So when they feel isolated and they do not feel like they want to socialize, what they do is they enter into the internet, and the simplest function, they use ChatGPT, for example, to get counseling advice. And ChatGPT now functions like a so-called psychologist, yeah? And it is able to produce sentences that sound like it is caring, and that is able to give advice to this child, for example. But what it is doing is lulling the child, and lulling maybe even adults around the child, into thinking that the child now has a friend in the intelligence, in artificial intelligence, right? Because artificial intelligence will provide certain kind of advice, and now the child may feel like someone is listening to him or her. When in actual fact, entering into this world, this artificial world, is isolating the child even more from his or her social environment, when in fact the child should be coming outside of this isolated situation, and not to engage so much with the artificial world, and instead engage with the real world, to carry out a conversation, to have a dialogue, to joke, to maybe read a book and share a book with a friend, for example. Okay, so this is what I mean by the danger, that if we are not able to tell the difference between the two, and more dangerously, our children are unable to tell the difference between the two, they could potentially view the artificial world to be their real world and isolate themselves from the actual real world. So that's something that I think we need to consider and have that perhaps at the back of our minds, for why it is important for us to go ahead and do something about it. So as English teachers, I think we all have a duty, and we all have a passion for, in our case, teaching English. And one of the things that, one of the elements of language teaching is, if we know, of course, the 4 skills. Of the 4 skills, of course, all skills are important, but the reading skill is by far, I think, the most crucial part of language learning. Yeah. So I'm going to talk a little bit about teaching critical reading. I have one of my research partners. We are coming up with a book, hopefully by next year, but we are looking more and more into the importance of critical reading in new times. Also particularly critical reading and critical thinking in the Southeast Asian region and in the Southeast Asian context. Understanding that this notion of critical reading is a little bit differently experienced within the Southeast Asian region as compared to, say, the Western world. We think about critical reading as, from the Western perspective, as being able to critique the thing that we are reading. But we also realize that as Southeast Asians, the habit to critique something can come across rude. Culturally, it can come across rude. Yeah. So that tends to be a way for people to say, let's not question it. Let's not criticize what we are reading or the things that we are maybe discussing. And of course, that means there is a misunderstanding between critique and criticizing. Yeah. So we have to bear in mind that critical reading is not criticizing the reading. Critical reading means exercising metacognition, exercising questioning, even the simplest, using the 5W1H, questioning the item that we are reading and that we are looking at, and interrogating the points that are there. It's as simple as that. But in so doing, what we are introducing into the reading skill or into the reading activity is new ideas. And having new and original ideas is something that artificial intelligence cannot do, will never be able to do. So long as we continue to stay original and produce original knowledge and new knowledge, we will be able to, in a sense, combat artificial intelligence. We will not so-called lose the war to artificial intelligence. And as English teachers, I think we are at the forefront and we are the best placed to do this. I will maybe just very quickly mention also about the way we are teaching today. Yes, we hear, and I think at the top of the session, Prof. Siva did mention how things are changing in classrooms, and indeed that's wonderful. Yeah, even classroom settings are beginning to change. However, if we have been English teachers long enough, we know that, for example, this notion of active learning or teaching in engaging ways is not new to us. If we had gone for our teaching training, teaching practice, we had learned methodology and methods in our certification and our degrees and our diplomas, we would have known that, for example, to teach English, or any language for the matter, we should not and we cannot teach English through chalk and talk. We've known that all along. You must probably remember how you were taught to teach English using music, how you were taught to teach English using poetry, how we get our children and our students to come together, stand together, maybe half the class will read the first part of the poem, the second half will read the second, and they do that as a chorus, and then we exchange it, and then they do that again as a chorus, but different stanzas, for example. How we, I remember one of my favorite lessons when I was teaching in a school for a short while was to take and at that time this song was a very popular song. It was called Lemon Tree, and I was teaching Form 1 children, and I would take out I think it was the noun, so the grammar function on that week was nouns, so I would remove, oh no, sorry, it was adjectives, so I remove all the adjectives from the words in the song, and of course printed out the song with all the, like a closed passage almost, and then play the song, and then our students will have to hear and listen to the song and fill in all the missing adjectives. Yeah. And then of course the best part of that lesson was to have everyone stand up together with the lyrics and sing along to the song. And that was how English was taught in the most creative and the most fun way. So much so that students from the other classrooms started coming to our classroom, knocking on the door and saying, "Cikgu, cikgu, boleh masuk lah? Can I come in? Can I come in?" Because they were seeing how their friends in the class were having so much fun, listening to the song, dancing to the song, but more importantly, singing an English song that was complete with adjectives, nouns, verbs, without even realizing that they were already using the functions of grammar, right? So we've always, I think, known that. Perhaps many of our counterparts in other fields of study may not have known that. It might be very different to teach geography, perhaps. It might be very different to teach maybe subjects that are a little bit more factual, and so there isn't so much a necessity to have a production process. So for us in language teaching, we understand that the product is also very important. You cannot teach English until you require the students to produce, could be the spoken word, produce the written word. So there's a lot of closing or having sort of end-to-end loop into teaching language. So we've always been at the forefront of this. I do see many more of my colleagues not in the field of language education, perhaps just catching up. And I feel very advantaged. I feel very privileged to realize now that at the forefront of it, while so-called active learning is now the poster boy for education. Yeah, student-centered learning is now the poster boy or poster girl for education. I think those of us who are English teachers have always known this and have always practiced this. Okay, so again, as English teachers, we are privileged. We have already been at the forefront of pedagogy or andragogy if you're teaching older people, but it is not new to us. Hence, as English teachers, therefore, we have that big mandate, I think, to ensure that critical reading becomes a big part of what we do every day in our class. Because in our classrooms, teaching English in so-called that active learning or teaching kind of way is already something we have been doing for the longest time. It is not new to us. We do this, we continue to do this, right? So how do we go about teaching critical reading? I cannot go into great detail, but suffice it to say that these are the three important aspects of critical reading that I think is important to bring up. Again, this reflects part of the book that my research partner and I are working on. And I'm just going to touch on them, right? But I'll give you just some examples as we go along. Okay, so first is reflection. Again, the critical importance between artificial intelligence and human intelligence is the production of original knowledge. Artificial intelligence cannot produce original knowledge. The moment you type something into Google search, Bing search, whatever search engine you use, the moment you ask Siri to provide you an answer, the moment you ask Alexa to provide you an answer, you are already in the past. In other words, whatever is in the internet is past. It has been produced by someone, hence it's uploaded into the internet one way, shape or form. And when it comes back out to us, it's not new anymore. Okay, just bear that in mind. As current as it feels it could be, it is actually not new anymore. Our job as human beings is to have new and renewed experience. I'm not saying that it has to be every single day and every single moment, but if we have continued experience, it makes us human. This will enrich us as human beings, whether we are 10 years old, whether we are 50 years old, this makes us human. All right. So in order for us to be able to have original knowledge, to understand original knowledge, we need to constantly have reflections. Simple reflections of the 5 W's, 1 H kind of way is the most powerful. Again, I think, I hope I will be able to share with you that the answers for critical reading, how do we teach critical reading, is not profound answers. They're not profound. They actually require us to go back to basics. Ask the question, ask the students to ask themselves the questions: what have I learned today? What do I know now that I did not know prior to this? What did I think I knew that I now know is different? The navigation of the knowledge production at that moment will be able to help the children or the students produce new knowledge. Again, the new knowledge has to be at the forefront. It has to be ahead of artificial intelligence knowledge. Human knowledge must be ahead of artificial intelligence knowledge. If you can just imagine, and this is not just for the sake of us human beings, it's also for the sake of artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is only as intelligent as the quality of knowledge that goes into its system. So what we sometimes call GIGO, yeah, garbage in, garbage out. So at the moment, we are at the height of maybe artificial intelligence because the input that has gone in has been good, high quality. But if you can imagine, as human beings, we do not produce our own knowledge. There's no more Shakespeare coming through. And by the way, artificial intelligence in the initial product of internet, when it was done, one of the biggest corpus of bodies of texts that went up was Shakespeare's works. So we might not notice this, but it has formed one of the bigger, more perhaps critical parts, because Shakespeare wrote in the English language, and of course, as we know, the internet was born in the English-speaking world. Yeah, so that body of text, that corpus, has gone in, and that has informed the way the sentences were designed, and the way that we have the intelligence that in the system. So again, the quality of AI will depend on the quality of HI, and if HI's quality starts to drop, eventually, maybe not so soon, but eventually we will see AI quality will also drop. So we have to sustain our human intelligence in order to sustain the larger ecosystem. They are not separate from each other. Okay, so first is reflection. Second is biography. Again, artificial intelligence has no biography. Biography just means where we are located, where we come from, what's our history, what's our social-cultural context, and artificial intelligence doesn't have that. Okay, so we as learners, readers, when we navigate a book, when we read a book, ask ourselves, what do I know after reading the book? What have I learned? I'll ask our students to ask themselves, what have I learned? What have I, as a Malaysian, learned? What have I, as a girl, learned? So the biographical stance is now ever more important. We have to indigenize our knowledge production. Who are we within our context and our environment in this era? Very different from those of us who grew up maybe in a different era. Those of us who are coming through, the younger generations, Gen Alpha, Gen Beta, maybe in future Gen Omega, yeah. So their environment, their biography will be very different. So it is important for our children, our learners, to be able to do critical reading as they locate themselves in their biographical spaces. So ask themselves, not just what have I learned, but what have I as a girl learned? What have I as a Malaysian learned? What have I as a teenager learned? So they need to be able to have a metacognition and meta awareness, and to bring forward their location, who they are in the reading. So a child could be reading Harry Potter from 10 years ago, 10 years later, and another 5 years later, and they will read it differently. We know that when we do literature, we read differently because as a reader, we change. The text is the same, but we always say, that it's called the death of the author, isn't it? So once the author has finished the book, it's gone. The author is dead, and now the book sits there static. Where it comes alive is in the reader's mind. So the reader, in fact, does not bring the book alive only once. The reader brings the book alive multiple times. As many times as the reader reads the book, as many times there will be new knowledge. So constantly, we will remind our children and our students not just to reflect on what they're reading, but to reflect in a biographical stance what they're reading. And finally, for us to remind ourselves and remind our students that the most important capital going forward in this new era, in this maybe the next 100 years, the most important capital is intellectual capital. It's not material anymore. It's not even social capital is, of course, is always important. Cultural capital, and I'm referring to the theories Bourdieu, Pierre Bourdieu. Of course, it's a very old theory, but I think it still stands. And what is really important now is intellectual capital. Our students, our children in schools, and I don't mean intellectual capital meaning all the getting the A's. Intellectuality can be defined in multiple through multiple facets. So to have our students and our children know that the capital they build in the minds and the way that they connect with what they navigate, not just books. Literacy can also come across in terms of numbers, even if we call it numeracy, but it is navigating and interpreting some form of symbolic system. It could even be colors, for example. So somebody could be literate in art, and that's fine as well. So their intellectual capability and capacity and capital is built in the strength of art. So it's not just about navigating one particular set of symbol or in a particular language. It cuts across. It can be in Mandarin, it can be in Malay, it can be in any language or any medium. Okay, so but intellectual capital is now the newest, most important capital for us to build in order for us to maintain human intelligence. So these are the three ways: reflection, biography, and building intellectual capital. Third, I said that I started off at the top of the session saying that I would be revealing a surprise. But what is this surprise? The surprise is surprise. Human intelligence is capable of surprise. Artificial intelligence is incapable of surprise. And that is what makes us human. And that is what is going to keep us, to help human beings not just survive, but thrive. Ask ourselves, ask our students, what surprised you today? When I do my supervision with my PhD students, for example, a PhD journey is very long. It will take sometimes 3.5 to 4 years. But by the end of that journey or along the way as well, I will ask my students, what surprised you about the data? What surprised you about your reading? What surprised you about the analysis? What surprised you about the conclusion? Right? And it's important for that question to be asked because it will force us to think about how connections are made in our minds based on the multiple texts that we are navigating. So if, let's say, data is what I've collected, and I was surprised by the way my participants are answering the questions that I asked about, let's say, a particular topic, I will now try and pin down the surprise. What surprised me? Why did I feel surprised? What was my original impression, or what was my original understanding of this phenomenon, and that in which then surprised me when maybe my participants said something to me that I did not expect. What was my original understanding of, let's say, water? But when I started to read the textbook, I found that, in fact, water is of a different, maybe a permutation, for example. Okay, so that is the surprising matter. If we can keep this element of surprise in our classrooms every day, if we can, the best that we can do is every day. End our lesson plan with what surprised you. Even in the university, when I was teaching, I would ask my students, not just what did we cover today. Typically, lecturers or teachers will say, what did we cover? Because we are constantly very focused on syllabus. But it's not the syllabus that is important. So I've started to shift the way I ask my students the question. Instead of saying, what did we cover today? I would ask, what did we uncover today? Or what did we discover today? Because that is new knowledge. And if we can constantly be ahead of what is around us and ask ourselves, what is that new knowledge that we have come up with, that we have built, and the connections that we have made, then I think in the larger scheme of things, human intelligence will surpass artificial intelligence. But I think I'd end by saying that to the question of human intelligence losing to artificial intelligence, the answer is it depends. If we teach our children well enough in that critical manner, then I think we will be able to ensure that human intelligence will be not just on par with, but will surpass. But more importantly, if anything, again, my message is not to say that we do not use artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence is here to stay. We just have to ensure that we use artificial intelligence to complement us rather than for it to dictate the learning to us and to our children especially. So, for all teachers out there, if there's a final message that I would like to give, not just in terms of reading and literacy, but please let us put our best foot forward as far as ensuring that natural intelligence, human intelligence, and the knowledge should always be at the forefront. And so if we can do that every day, I think we will be okay. Thank you very much. I'll be happy to take questions. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Chong, for your sharing. So does anyone have any questions to ask Dr. Chong? Whether it is about artificial intelligence or about critical teaching, critical reading in the classroom? Any questions? Dr. Chong, while waiting for questions from the audience,
Yeah.
I actually one question, I would say is a question. Now we see a lot of courses for teachers or workshops for teachers to learn about artificial intelligence and how to use them in the classroom. So what is your thoughts on this? Is it a good idea to incorporate artificial intelligence in classroom, right? Teaching students to use them for learning? And is it really beneficial for them, whether in the short term or long term?
Thanks for the question, Evelyn. The answer is not a yes or a no. The answer is it depends. It depends. For sure, artificial intelligence is here to stay. And it must be here to stay because it has been able to provide new pathways to, especially to provide access to students maybe who don't have the ability to have maybe more books, for example. So if you look at, let's say, even just on the internet, a lot of books have been made freely available. So long as a student has a simple enough device, and of course with the internet connection, they now have this large library accessible to them. So in that sense, it is good. And of course, in order for them to learn how to use these devices and the tools, they will need to have classes where there is some technology knowledge that is taught to them. And in fact, more than that, they also need to learn how to use this technology in an ethical way. Ethics is a big topic that has come up. How do we use artificial intelligence in an ethical way? And of course, the other thing is also, for example, when students use ChatGPT, are they producing the information on their own? Do they get to navigate the information, change it, adjust it, think about it? No different from us reading a book and producing the same paragraph because we like how the author wrote it. In that sense, it's the same. Yeah. But if it is taught without guardrails, again, the younger generation coming through, they are the ones who need guardrails. And guardrails means the teacher must be at the forefront to be able to tell them that what I said today, yeah, that look, what we are looking at, if you produce something from ChatGPT, understand that in fact it is not real. There are students who actually think that they are talking to someone real. At the end, they do think they have the impression that it is a human being who is giving them wisdom. And that is where it becomes dangerous. So because also computer scientists, and I think maybe many of us have seen this, they've already warned that artificial intelligence is prone to hallucinations. It can hallucinate. Hallucination is the word that they use where, because again, computer scientists themselves still do not understand fully how artificial intelligence works. The reason is because there are many layers to the programming. And because the layers come together, it becomes unpredictable to the computer scientist. So the computer scientist is able to feed the information into the system, but it cannot quite predict what will come out of the system. And of course, AI itself is unpredictable, right? But it is able to produce the language that sounds right, the language that sounds convincing. That is its strength. And so if we are not critical enough when we read something, just because it sounds correct, brilliant language, no grammar error whatsoever, because it's been able to catch, imagine its best teacher is Shakespeare. You can imagine if that is his corpus, Shakespeare was the one who is it Shakespeare's English brain that has gone in, what would you expect? Of course, the writing would be of very high level, but it could be that at very high level, it's still talking nonsense, right? One of the speakers in the last 2 days in the conference mentioned that having ChatGPT with us, like us as lecturers, having ChatGPT with us is like having a research assistant who is very smart, but who has a drinking problem. Because we don't know on and off, he or she might be drunk. And so when they are drunk, their hallucinations will pop up. So even if that so-called research assistant is able to produce the so-called information to us, we still need to check because they might be hallucinating. So in that sense, yes, it's a good idea to teach artificial intelligence. It is a leveler as far as gaps in socioeconomic and social cultural gaps are concerned. It can be a leveler. If everyone has that ability to access that, it will be good to teach. But we got to teach it at a much higher level. Artificial intelligence is like COVID-19. I think it has forced all of us to up our game. Maybe some of us have not been teaching as high level as we should have been. We've taken it for granted, perhaps. So now with this wake-up call, it's forcing all of us as teachers to go even higher. If we haven't really been reading as teachers, we've just been teaching the same things over and over because we've been doing it for years and we're comfortable with it, then now it's the time for us to up and say, okay, what have I been reading? How have I been making the critical connections? And then I'm going to introduce that to my children and my students. And we can use artificial intelligence to back us up with, access to knowledge, access to information the world has. But the knowledge has to be built. The wisdom has to come from the human intelligence. Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chong. Yes, I think, that's a very, very insightful answer. Yeah, so in the midst of students, I think students are more well-versed than us in artificial intelligence.
Yes, indeed they are.
Yeah, so I think we have to be one step ahead of them and also teach them how to use it correctly in the ethical way. I think that is very important for us as teachers.
I've got a question as well, Evelyn. I think I would like to take that.
Somebody asked, can you suggest some ways for critical reading for low proficiency learners?
Yes, absolutely. I know maybe my talk today will sound like it's pitched at high level literacy. However, I mentioned just now that when I talk about literacy, I don't mean literacy just in through one modality. Modality would be, for example, the written word. That is a modality. Music is another modality. Sound is another modality. So when we talk about critical reading, if let's say the child has trouble with navigating written symbols, typically when we say low proficiency, that means being able to read, let's say in English. So the child has difficulty reading in English with these sentences, just navigating the sentences. So my suggestion is make your reading classes multimodal. Multimodal means you will have a combination of the written form together with visuals, together with music, together with maybe realia. Realia would be models if it can help. I remember I taught a class also when I was in school for a short while. I taught the class how to, we were looking at future tenses, and I used the notion of what is that word? Fortune teller to teach future tenses. And so as a fortune teller, I would bring like a little ball, say, or like a crystal ball, right? So the students were repeating the things that I was saying. I had all the sentences on the board, on the mahjong paper stuck on the board. And the students were reading repetitively the sentences that were there, but at the same time, they were navigating and having this crystal ball in hand, and they were passing it around to each other to take turns to become a fortune teller and be able to give out the fortune, to tell the fortune to their friends. So make your lessons multimodal in nature. I think our focus sometimes is we are too, and that's not our fault, yeah, because the curriculum requires it. What is the level of their proficiency, right? And that means testing them to the sentences and comprehension questions. If you're doing it in Malay, for example, it would be the ability to read out and sound out the syllables, right? So the suku kata, okay? And so we measure by that. If they can sound out the suku kata, therefore they are literate. But we also know that, I think it's been quite a number of years now, that system of doing that has been abandoned, because you found children at standard 6, for example, who could sound out those words, but didn't even know the meaning of those words. So that is not literacy. Yeah, that is just phonetically they know how to make the sounds, but it's not functional. There's no point for that. So again, to that question, make your lessons multimodal in nature. The key is not to have the 40-minute lesson drown the children with words or sentences in that kind of way. The key is to get them interested that this couple of sentences is the gateway to knowledge. This couple of sentences is a gateway to jokes. This couple of sentences is a gateway to stories, so that then they are interested. So outside of classroom time, we could then maybe supplement and have maybe sessions, whether it's in a library or just bring other books into the classroom, and to have them to continued access to being literate. Build it slowly that way, but multimodal if the initial proficiency is challenging for them. Yeah. Have other questions?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chong. There's one question from Madam Ami.
Yeah.
As students use AI to facilitate learning, do you see the need for English teachers to teach the art of prompting so that our students ask the right questions?
Okay, thank you for that question, Madam Ami. Already, even in the university, we have seminars or learning sessions for prompting. It's called prompt engineering. For those of you who might not be very familiar with this, it's learning how to ask the right questions to the platforms. So for example, it doesn't matter, it could be ChatGPT, it could be DeepSeek. And again, bear in mind, platforms will change. Today is ChatGPT. DeepSeek came very quickly to kind of try to, overpower it. Then, in the next 6 months, something else could come. So in the world of technology, 1 month is an eternity. Things change and become obsolete very fast, right? But what remains important is thinking. So prompt engineering now is a very popular maybe set of tools or learning function that we do see university lecturers or even outside of university, and of course even in schools, that there is a focus on that. Yes, prompt engineering or prompting is important because the quality of your answers is only as good as the quality of your question. If you ask the wrong question, you will get the wrong answer. You ask the right question, you will get the right answer. So how do you ask the right question? So if some of us are maybe doing our research, or we are doing, let's say, a master's or PhD, you're doing, let's say, a literature review. If you notice, when you do literature review, you have to search, and the keywords are the important things. So whether you use the Boolean function and or for example, so that is the thinking behind prompting. So to your question, madam, yes, prompt engineering is important because, again, our students need to learn, if they are going to use the platforms, they must know how best to use the platforms. But again, if we are just teaching prompting in our English classroom, isolated from English skills, then I don't recommend that. I would suggest that if you're teaching prompt prompting, link it back with the language skills, because typically with English language, I think English language teaching was the one that, to my understanding, popularized the whole 5W1H. It's always about questioning. So come back to perhaps to interrogate the platform using prompt, but link it back with language learning. Again, ultimately, typically students who are stronger with navigating the English language generally will navigate the internet better. Just today, because the internet is again was born in the English speaking world, in the anglicized world, it could change in another 50 years, it could change in another 100 years. But at the moment, the English language prowess is important. So yes, by all means, teach prompting, but link it with the English lesson. Link it back with as best as possible, even the 4 skills. All right. And of course, always, guardrails must be there. I don't know how important it is to start a lesson by saying, all right, guys, kids, everyone, we're going to go into the internet. Is it real? No. Does it hallucinate? Yes. Something along the lines to just constantly keep them in check, even keep ourselves in check, that this is not real. It can sound very smart, but it's not real. There's no one behind that. It's just 1010. The imagination, the dreaming, the thinking, the connection is the one that the human being has to put in the hard work. Okay, so that's my answer. Thanks.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chong. Hopefully that answers Madam Ami's question. Okay, I have one more question. Dr. Chong, what do you think about AI replacing teachers in the future? Do you think it's a possibility?
Good question, Evelyn. Yes, AI will replace teachers who are not at the top of their game. Simple as that. That's why I said AI is like COVID-19. COVID-19 only highlighted and made explicit the social issues that were already existing in society. For example, poverty. It was already there. But if you don't pay attention to it, it can just kind of go unnoticed. But COVID-19 brought that to the fore. Artificial intelligence is bringing that to the fore. Artificial intelligence, we've got all kinds of YouTube videos right now, simplest things like even mathematics, teachers, English. Teachers are putting up videos, YouTube videos for free, for example, or for a very, very small fraction of price to teach children all over the country, to prepare them for SPM, for example. So if a teacher on YouTube is able to replace me, let's say I'm a teacher, it replaces me, that means I'm not upping my game. If artificial intelligence, ChatGPT can give my PhD students an answer that I cannot give, that means I am not upping my game. So yes, it will replace, I think it can eventually replace teachers who are not at the top of their game. But if we are teachers who care, who've got empathy, who are creative, who are imaginative, as we should have been when we signed up to be an English teacher. I remember when I signed up to be an English teacher, I was so excited because I love all my English teachers and wanted to be like them. And I said to myself, I'm going to be an English teacher that gets my students to come into class after 1 hour with me or 40 minutes with me, and they will come outside and say, wow, that was enlightening. Oh, wow, that was exciting. Oh, wow, Dr. Chong said something really funny just now that ChatGPT cannot do, for example. Okay, so if we are English teachers and we want to be English teachers and we signed up for this, then this is the time, I think, for us to remember that pledge of ours and be the English teacher that has heart. Artificial intelligence doesn't have heart. It has info, and that's all it has. So if we have heart, we have creativity, we have imagination, and we bring it all together, the students will remember. The students will come back for more, because that's far more exciting than just getting an answer from a static platform. Thanks, Evelyn.
Yeah, that's true. Human touch is the key here, right? Yeah,
It's
because
the key.
someone once mentioned that if you ask ChatGPT to generate an essay, it has no soul. When you read it, you don't feel the soul of it. The feeling is
Absolutely.
not there, right? As compared to a real person actually writing a story.
Absolutely. I would even, on top of that, just maybe one last point to encourage all teachers when we are doing, whether writing with our students, reading with our students, always ask the students to think about their environment. That means if I'm from Ipoh, I think many of us are from Ipoh. I constantly think about where I live and how a particular topic impacts the people around me where I live, the park opposite my house, the dog next door to my house. it might sound a little humorous, but it is not about that. It comes back to the indigeneity of our knowledge production. It's about time we take stock of our own knowledge production as Malaysians, as Chinese, for example, as a particular age, as a gender. That is the one that keeps us original. It's about time we create our own knowledge rather than to use a lot of the knowledge that you see on the internet is from the Western world. You also have to be very careful with that. And it's not culturally neutral. It is not. So let's produce our own cultural knowledge. Yeah.
Yeah, we have to be critical with what we read or what we see.
Absolutely.
Okay,
There's
teacher
one
Aida,
more question though. Yeah, one more question then. When teaching
when
writing,
teaching
is it a good
writing,
idea?
is it a good idea to use AI examples for students?
Yes, it can be. Yeah, it can be a good idea. But again, you will notice that I will give you the same answers. Guardrails. The sentence structures usually, if I would think, apart from, even when it hallucinates, it's hallucinating in the grammatically correct way, because it's gotten the grammar absolutely correct, right? Like I said, Shakespeare is the brain is Shakespeare. Of course, it will get the grammar correct. So yes, you can, to use it as an example, no different from, let's say, us previously, before artificial intelligence or the internet came along, those of us who maybe taught many years ago, we would show them model essays. Remember, we had books, model essays, or we had somebody in class who did very well, got an A for his or her essay. Then we say, okay, everybody, this is Susan's essay. And so everybody gets to read Susan's essay and say, oh, so this is how Susan wrote the thing. But I tell my students in UTP, and just bear in mind that if you can, think about all these model essays and all as it is the bottom of the bar. This is what I call bottom of the bar thinking. Meaning to say, sometimes our students, when we give them model essay, they think that is the best, and therefore they copy exactly and they stop there. And that's where it impedes new knowledge. Give them model essays and say, this is one good example, but this is not the best example. The best example is yet to come. That's how Nobel Prize winners are built, right? It's yet to come. So you can follow some of the good sentence structures, but it is at the bottom of the bar. Now you write the essay and you bring into the story something new. You bring into the story a style that is different. And that brings the essay now to the top of their bar. Don't let the students take someone's essay and make that the top of their bar. They actually haven't reached the top of their bar yet. And every day they will be reaching for the top of their bar. Can you imagine how rich the production of knowledge will be if every day I'm constantly reaching the top of my bar? Today, I've done something good, great, but that's not the top of my bar yet. Tomorrow, I'm going to do something better. Okay, so if we keep doing that, then we are not competing with Susan or anybody else. We're competing with our own selves, and we're just constantly generating newer and better and more original knowledge that, again, is present and current, whereas artificial intelligence is in the past. Yeah, just bear that in mind. Today, in this evening, when you ask Siri for something, you ask Alexa for something, just understand that they are already obsolete. Whatever answer they give you is obsolete answer. Okay, so yeah, that's my answer.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Chong. Are there any more final questions? If not, we'll wrap up this session. I think there's no more questions, yeah? So thank you, Dr. Chong, for such an insightful session.
Most welcome.
Us about the difference between artificial intelligence and human intelligence. Definitely, we live in a digital world now, and as Dr. Chong said just now, artificial intelligence is here to stay, and we must learn to coexist with artificial intelligence. However, we must be aware that artificial intelligence cannot produce original content and knowledge. So it depends very much on us, especially as teachers, yeah, to teach our students to use human intelligence to provide the knowledge that artificial intelligence can draw from. So we must be better than them. We must up our game, as what Dr. Chong says. Yeah. So right. I hope this is the message that we bring back from what Dr. Chong has shared with us just now. Okay. So thank you, Dr. Chong, for
thank you,
your,
Evelyn.
Yes. Thank you. Right.
Thanks,
so now we will move on to our second session, which is entitled Innovative Practices in English Language Teaching. And our guest speakers for today are Madam Kashmira Jaiswal from India and Madam Safitri Wahyumi from Indonesia. The moderator for this session is none other than our Malta Perak Chapter President, Dr. Mohana Ram Murugia. So over to you, Dr. Mohana.
Hi, sorry for the technical fault here. A very good morning, everyone. Very good morning, everyone. Can you all hear me now? Am I audible? I hope I'm clear. All right. A very good morning, everyone. Thank you, first of all, thank you to all participants for joining us for our I Teach Colloquium 2025 today. It has been an honor. It has been something that really happy. We are happy to have all of you here. And yeah, without further ado, let me just introduce our first speaker for today's session, a forum that we are going to have with two international teachers. Okay, the first person is Madam Safitri Wayuni. Okay, so Madam Safitri Wayuni, an EFL teacher and EdTech enthusiast, a Fulbright alumna, okay, ILAB 2015, International Leaders in Education Program in America 2015. So, Madam Safitri Wayuni is a passionate English language educator at SMP Negeri 2 Samarinda, Indonesia. With over 15 years of teaching experience, she is known for her innovative approaches in integrating educational technology and inclusive practices in English language teaching. She is an active trainer, researcher, and author of multiple publications, including books on AI-powered English language learning, the digital classroom for effective EFL learning. Madam Safitri has also presented in various national and international conferences, including TEFLIN, Asia TEFL, DIAL ChemTESOL, Thai TESOL, Open TESOL, and currently she's actively promoting the use of AI in education and designs inclusive learning experiences for diverse learners, including high performance athletes and students with dyslexia. Okay, let's welcome her to the stage. Before I introduce your next session, yeah. Before I introduce to you the next speaker. Hi, Madam Safitri, how are you? Can you hear me?
Yes. Thank you so
So
much.
it has been a long time. So how are you?
Very good. Very good. Very happy to meet you today.
Okay, all right. All right. So for today's session, I have just a few questions. So what do you think, what do you have to say about innovative practices among current English language teachers?
Can you repeat your question again? Because
Okay, what do you think? Can you hear me clearly now?
A little bit better.
Okay. What do you think about innovative practices among current English language teachers now?
I think the teachers are now much more creative than a long time ago, because as we know that nowadays there are so many help from technology, and also so many information that we can access. So I believe that most of the teachers are nowadays more creative than before.
Okay, all right. In Indonesia, okay, and you have also seen some of our practices, innovative practices in Malaysia, right? As you were one of our judges. So, do you find any differences in terms of innovative practices or in terms of English language teaching in Indonesia and Malaysia?
Okay, if you ask me about the difference, I think while I was judging the videos that you sent to me, I was like just amazed. So there are so many things that I have known before, yeah, including in my country, for example, like things that can help our students to write what is it, cursive, to have cursive writing, something like that. It is a very basic thing actually, yeah, for our students. So I just found that so many new things that I can learn from them as well, that I couldn't find in Indonesia before. Yeah, so I can say that all of the what is it, the participants in I teach competition are so innovative. Yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay, let's welcome our next speaker, Madam Safitri. So our next speaker for today is Madam Kashmira Jaiswal, who is a principal at Navratna International School. Okay, a leading institute at Vadodara, Gujarat. She is the recipient of the CBSE National Award, CBSE Honor for Excellence in Teaching and School Leadership in 2022, the Global Leadership in Education Award 2016 from the Education Council of India, Fulbright Distinguished Award for Teachers in iLab Award, which is 2015, and the Pearson Teaching Award 2013. She is a Microsoft certified educator, a teacher trainer, and conducts training programs for secondary school English teachers of the community. She's also a drama enthusiast where she writes and directs children's theater, development trainer for communication skills, and she also does she is a skill development trainer for communication skills, personality development, soft skills, leadership skills, drama, etc. Okay, the list goes on. A passionate English language teacher, she shares a very good rapport with her teachers and also pupils. She is a proponent of STEM education, yeah, despite being an English language teacher, design thinking, and innovation, and has actively mentored students for many inventive award-winning projects. So let us welcome another speaker for today, Madam Kashmira. Madam Kashmira, are you there? Hi,
Hello,
Madam
Mohana.
Kashmira, how are you?
I'm good. Good to be here. Hi, Safitri ma'am. Hello. Glad to be here.
Okay, Madam Safitri, your voice is not clear, not audible enough. So yeah, I think you need to come a little closer to the screen, yeah?
Okay, can you hear me now?
Okay. Okay, yeah. Clearer a little.
Thank you.
Okay, Madam Kashmira. Okay, so thank you, welcome. Thanks for accepting the invitation, yeah, to both of you, Madam Safitra and Madam Kashmira, for the I Teach 2025 colloquium. Now, so Madam Kashmira, I just asked a question about innovative practices in Indonesia to Madam Safitri. Now, I'm sure you have a lot of ideas as well. So, what about the innovative practices in classrooms in India? Would you like to say a few before we go further into your presentation?
Yeah. I would like to say, Mohana, that all over the world, the pedagogy is changing. Yeah. So it's no more, sage on the stage. It's all of us are guides on the sides. We have a lot of teaching tools in our hats. Yeah. The younger generation that is coming in of the teachers is more digital native than we are. So it's a good combination of having the knowledge of pedagogy and being able to use all the tools that come with the digital innovations. So right now I feel it's a boom. We are in a wonderful phase all over the world, and that, so to speak, for India as well. So teachers, ELT teachers in Indian classrooms are also doing amazing things.
Okay. All right. Now, you have all. Madam Kashmira is also one of our judges for the iTeach competition. Yeah. So I have another question for you, Madam Kashmira. So in terms of, I'm sure you have watched some of the innovative videos. Yeah. That you judged. Okay, which was from Malaysian classrooms. So what do you think in terms of similarities and differences that you could see in terms of the innovative practices among teachers in India and some exemplary teachers in Malaysia that you have watched?
So I think more or less the same. Yeah, it depends on the uh, the platforms provided to the teachers and the availability of resources. Yeah, so if they, they have good resources at hand, they can make wonderful films, presentations, and use a lot of tech in their teaching, because some schools will still be in the areas where you don't have great internet, where you don't
Right.
have the resources. Yeah, in the reaches, deep reaches of the country, in the villages, the far reaches. So yes, the people, the teachers in the cities, mega towns, they are doing very well because thankfully all the resources are there. But there are also teachers who are not into the reach of the internets and the availability of resources and the games and the tools, but still they are applying their brains and getting the most out of. So you see, Mohana, technology is between the 2 years. It's not in the device. It's not in the device. The technology is here. So it's whether you get the devices, whether you get the internets, whether you get the Kahoots and the Padlets and the Wakelets or not. But the English teacher can use it here and still get the best out. So I think best of both is happening in India as
All
well.
right. Okay. Thank you for the comments that Madam Kashmira. Okay, now who would like to share your innovative practices first? Should we go with Madam Safitri first?
Okay.
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 Madam Safitri, do you want me to control the slide for you?
Yes, please.
Okay. So which slide you want me to go to? Yeah.
Maybe it's starting from the first.
Okay. All right. Okay, you may go, Madam Safitri.
Okay, thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, everyone. Thank you to Melta Perak Chapter and the iTeach Online Colloquium 2025 for this opportunity. My name is Safitri Wahyuni. Thank you for the introduction before, Mohana. I'm an English teacher from SMP Negeri 2 Samarinda. It is a junior high school, yeah, in East Kalimantan, Indonesia. Today, I feel honored to share some insights on how English language teaching in Indonesia, evolving through innovation and inclusion, combining our rich traditions with emerging technologies. Okay, next. Okay, so there are some points I would like to present here, starting from the ELT in Indonesia itself, I mean the context. And also, I would like to share you some of innovative or best practices that I have employed in my own classroom, like integrating technology in ELT, and also employing literature circles and local stories, and also project-based learning, and also gamification in classroom. And I would like to share you a little bit about inclusive teaching practices. And for the last 2 points, it is about how to empower teachers through innovation, and also the impact of innovation itself on others, and also the plans or future direction relating to this kind of innovation. Okay, next. Okay. Well, to understand innovation in Indonesia, we first need to understand the context, right? Indonesia is incredibly diverse culturally, linguistically, and geographically. We have learners from urban and rural settings or areas with different levels of access to resources. So many classrooms operate in bilingual or multilingual environment where students speak local languages, because as we know that Indonesia has more than 700 local languages. So the students' first language, of course, their mother tongue, but in classroom, they speak Bahasa Indonesia or Indonesian language, and now English is a foreign language in Indonesia. And then our national curriculum, or what it is called Curriculum Merdeka, that is one that promotes student-centered learning, and also inclusion and flexibility. So, however, access to technology still varies significantly across the regions in Indonesia. So, this diverse context force us teachers to be creative and adaptive. Next. Okay, so what you are seeing now on this slide are two best practices that I have employed in my classroom, and probably the other teachers in Indonesia as well. In recent years, we Indonesian teachers have embraced technology to enrich our English learning experiences. So use AI tools like chatbot, like ChatGPT, Replica, and Character AI for speaking and writing practices, especially in informal or autonomous learning sessions. But sometimes you also use in the classroom. Yeah, when when school allow the students to bring the mobile phone, of course. So these tools help students to build confidence through real-time interaction. And also we use interactive learning platforms like quizzes, virtual Kahoot, and Canva to engage students in vocabulary practice, framework games, and creative tasks, because they make learning English more fun and visual. And also we explore digital storytelling, like virtual clips using Google Earth and multimedia projects, so students create content, not just consume the content. And of course, mobile devices here like smartphone, gadget play a key role. With right guidance, students can personalize their learning, not only reading ebooks using their handphone probably, but they can report, they can do reflection or joining online discussion, or they can use AI in learning English in the classroom or outside the classroom. And for the literature circles and local stories, this is one strategy that I love to use in my classroom when I teach reading. Yeah, so literature circles is a kind of discussion where the students work on text, yeah, or stories, for example, to enrich the lesson. Usually, the text that can use can be local or global stories. So my students and I frequently read folk tales, for example, like Timun Mas or Gold Cucumber. You have a book that is local stories from Indonesia, and then pair them with global other stories. Yeah, in this activity, each student takes a role in each group. Yeah, like summarizer, and then question writer, vocabulary finder, and then the graphic organizer. So in each group, the student works on a specific role, yeah, related to the text that they have been assigned to read together. Yeah, this collaborative method builds comprehension, speaking, and critical thinking. And using local stories helps students connect more deeply. Why? Because they can see their culture valued in the English classroom, which increases motivation and fosters inclusion. This works very well in mixed ability classroom. That's what I can say. Yeah. Okay, and the next one. Next, please. Okay. Another strategy that I use is PBL, or project based learning. This is also another powerful method or strategy. In this activity, we engage students in real-world team projects like creating posters, podcasts, videos, or comics. And the one that you are seeing now on my slide is the project of digital comic. At that time, when my students tried to create stories, using Canva, and also from their own experience. The title of the example here is From Zero to Hero, created by my student that was athlete, at the time. So she tried to tell the stories about her athlete journey, from starting the first practice into become more professional athlete, so they use Canva, and also they use English vocabulary, they use sentences, and this activity encourage communication, critical thinking, and possible to include other lessons, for example, like sport, and also maybe ICT, computer, something like that, and of course English. Okay, next one, please. Okay, so the next one is gamification and in ELT. I guess this is really popular and powerful activities for students everywhere, not only in Indonesia. So there are so many games, particularly educational games that we can use in our classroom. For example, like board games, taboos, categories, Dixit, and the digital ones, of course, that can use phones or gadget or laptop. What makes gamification is good and powerful because it has a kind of classroom reward system, including points, badges, and leaderboards. And of course, this activity can boost our students' engagement and teamwork. Okay, next. So, another practices that I have employed in my classroom is these points, inclusive teaching practices, because these are really essential. As now in Indonesia, all of the schools can present the students who have special need when they want to come into schools, when they want to study in the schools in Indonesia. So, there's some points here. The first one is dyslexia friendly material and classroom strategies. Why I chose this because I have conducted research relating to how dyslexia students learning reading in English classroom. And also the second one is ideal classroom. Actually, this stands for inclusion, differentiation, empathy, accessibility, and literacy. This is a kind of inclusion project that I have established with my colleague from Japan. But we still try to develop it till now. And the next one is we try to implement UDL or universal design for learning. And the last one we try to personalize the learners with some activities. Can you go to the next slide, please? So for the students with dyslexia, there's some tips here. For example, when we teach them, we should use clear fonts, and also we need to break down the task into manageable steps in chunk. And we need to provide the students with visual support such as pictures, diagrams, and story maps. And we need to give
Oh, I think Madam Safitri is lagging. I think she is. Hello, Madam Safitri. Okay. Okay. Now, Madam Kashmira. Now, while waiting for Madam Safitri to be back on stage, now would you like to share something? Would you like to share your practices with us or some of your ideas with us?
Yes, Mohana, certainly.
All right.
Okay. So this is our school logo. Yeah, I belong to Navrashna International School, and there are many now, Mohana, hundreds of activities. Since I'm the principal, I know of grade 1 to 12. There's a lot happening in the entire school. The point is that we can't explain how each activity goes, but we can give you a brief glimpse, like, they have their content every time, and so the text is just a platform to, take, it's a diving board. So whatever text, because we have CBSE curriculum has books and text to go through, so whatever text or prose you have, you take a diving board from there, and then children start practicing. So here is an activity which is called the survival island, and then they take on their roles on the survival as a medic or something, and and then each of them designs their, how to, from an abandoned island and develop, and they learn a lot of collaboration, speaking skills, and a lot of communication skills and life skills. It's built in not only for ELT but soft skills, like, yeah, their life skills. So this is one of the activities we do for older students, where they have to think about how they will survive. So here is another one where these are also high secondary students. They are talking about the vacation, that they took. So all of them went on the summer vacation, and they had to create an entire presentation. So they are learning how to make a PPT or a video. They're learning how to talk. They're learning how to record all their, document their vacation. So again, soon after they land in from the vacation, they have to, talk about. So this gentleman here is talking about his European escapades. They learn how to title their plans and everything. So this is one of our projects soon after the vacation that the English teachers took.
Oh,
So here is our cross questioning rounds, where, it's, you call it, what do you call it, you hot seating. So then when you go as a hot seat over there as a panel, and the entire class asks you questions, they learn how to create questions. They learn how to posit their interrogative speech. They learn how to answer. So this is like an everyday thing happening in class. So now I'm coming to the little ones. So our little ones in grade 1 are also learning to write. And so here they are creating a kind of a poetry. So they are learning how to rhyme. They are learning to present it, because they may not have a great vocabulary, but then they doodle and they make their clip art, and they learn the rhyming words, and they create small poetry. So recently we've had the monsoon, the onset of, monsoon, and so there were peacocks in our gardens, and the grass and trees were all green, and so, the animals that they love. And so this is grade 1. So here is our, we do a lot of, like I said, Mohana, every time it's not the digital, you don't have to be on the digital platform, but what they do within the class with their hands, the craft that they design, the impromptu things that they do. So this is, they're using finger puppets to present a story.
so meaning
So
to say
here,
you have all these hands-on activities to develop the students' cognitive skills, right?
right, all of them sit in the class, they will doodle, they will color, the teacher will teach them how to create a puppet. And so they'll spend 2-3 lessons in it, but then they will come across their own way. I couldn't add, yesterday we had a sustainable ramp walk, Moana, in which students of grade 1 and 2, 3 in a team, designed a sustainable costume through like a fashion show, and they designed it with gunny bags, with old plastic bags, with old cloth bags and stuff, and they did a ramp walk, 3 in a team. One is a cutter, one is a paster, one is a model, and I can't tell you how amazing the ramp walk happened. It's there on our social media site, but I was kind of busy yesterday, couldn't put it in this. But that's the kind of work they're doing, a lot of hands-on work. Because you see, Mohana, cognitive development happens faster when there is neuromotor development happening there. That's a given fact. And so children need to work with hands, and then they need to, so it's all of their life skills.
Amazing, Madam
Yeah,
Kashmira. Madam Kashmira, I just have one question before you continue. Yeah, you were just talking about students have doing this ramp walk project, right? And they came out with all these sustainable development products to create costumes and doing a ramp walk. Now,
and they
yeah, there's a perception in a lot, in not only in one country, but in a lot of countries, that this kind of activities may not like directly, may not contribute to learning. But I personally believe that it contribute indirectly to learning, and it actually helps students to learn faster, like what you said. So, can you just enlighten us how much students learn more when they do this kind of hands-on project rather than just sitting and listening to the teacher in the classroom?
See, they went on to research. Yeah. So they were given a certain platform that this is where best of waste is. You need to look it up. They went and spoke to their parents. They interviewed a few people. What is the maximum? So the entire project was designed that you have to interview a parent, a neighbor, and then you have to sit and collaborate. So they did a lot of speaking skills. Yeah. Then they went on to write the script that they had to do at the stage. So each of the children, all of them spoke on the stage. So one spoke how they designed it, how they landed on deciding what they want to do, and the other spoke why their costume is sustainable. So they are speaking, they're using their language skills, and they're going and interviewing people. So I think, Mohana, if the teacher is speaking on the platform all the time and explaining, and the child is a passive listener, it doesn't help. And this is the day and age of multiple interdiscipline. You can't have
Mhm.
English in a silo. Silos don't work anymore, Moana. You have to have language speaking with the help of how you're thinking, how the world is thinking, what are the global competencies that you need to reach at. So English is never in a box. Please unbox it. I would request all the teachers to unbox English and free it from the silos. Okay, so here is, they are playing a compound word quest. So this is in their curriculum, the grammar curriculum. So they are trying to make compound words up out of all the words so these are laminated sheets. The teachers can laminate once and preserve them in the cupboards. And every time, they want to practice, and the children create number of, and they know this is a compound word or not a compound word. Is it, so they are learning all of that. So again, this is grade 2. Then we are moving on to next. Yeah. So find your partner. Now they are creating homophones. So the sound words, how the words sound, how is it different from homonym and homophone? So in our classes, the teachers are creating activities like it's a magician's rabbit. They're pulling out one thing after the other. So because every time they define a lesson plan, it is told to them. So we are taking the 7E planning module, in which all the cognitive domains like engage, explore, extend, all the E's of the 7E, they have to have one activity. So understand, Mohana, in a lesson plan that runs through 8 days or 9 days, a unit or a lesson or a prose that they have to take, they need to have 7 activities to scaffold that. So the teachers will impromptu make activities. Okay, let's hands-on. So unless a child is engaged hands-on, passive engagement is something that at Navrachna we don't believe. So the children will be doing them strips of paper, cut it out, paste it out, yell it out, and things like that. So they are very engaged in the classroom. So this is find your partner in teaching homophones.
So, Madam
next,
Kashmira, so I'm aware that you are a principal in your school, right? Okay, so let's say you are just walking around and you see there is a passive teaching that is happening in the classroom. What would you do?
do you think I need to wear my the red the red devil hat? No, but I don't do anything. I just sit around. I start asking questions. I don't disturb the teacher. But then later I would have a little conversation with her, and I would say, because every day will not be an activity day. Some days
Yeah.
they have to sit and read in silence, and have their cognition on their own, like internalize it. Some days they are out on the garden or they are out making a lot of noise, but some days the teacher is sitting with them in a small group and explaining how that concept works. So it's but when I take my rounds, which I do every day, I see a lot of noise in the school, and I'm not that principal who would say shh. So I love the noise, and I go in and find out what's happening, and then we play together and we present together. So it's fun. Let me tell you. So here is a haiku thing that they did. So at middle school level, they learn how poetry, and then although no haiku is there in our curriculum, but our teachers, they want to go a little step beyond, because that is what in our planning extend stands for. Whatever you're learning in your prose, how do you extend one step further? Yeah, so they are teaching haiku, and children have made their own haikus. And if we go to the next one, these are musings by grade 10. So by now, these are adolescents, yeah? And they are told to, like, whatever is in the prose, it's their thoughts, it's their musings. So they learn how to write, because nowadays, Mohana, let me tell you, writing has become a pain in the neck. You can't get children to, and that's why I use the right word, not the wrong word. Writing is becoming a backseat, taking a back seat. The devices are there, you're typing, you're not writing. But there are researches that tell you that writing with hand gets more neuro circuit happening. When you're writing with your hand, you are getting more networks, your neurons are fired, and you need to learn how to write. So we do get a lot of handwriting done, and this is happening within class. They, this is the product in a day or two. If they don't finish it in a day, the teacher will give them time to do it in the next day. Sometimes they love to doodle and paint, so they will take more time to paint and create their clip art than they take to write. But yes, these are the musings. And so this is save water poster making. Of course, poster making all over the world, schools, people do. But of course, this is STEM. Like I said, I am a STEM proponent. So what's happening in the world? What's happening with the sciences? How do you save water? How do you save earth? And do you think English is not used there? Of course, if you never had an inkling of writing skills, you will not be able to write inspiring quotes, inspiring messages, or how to design the poster. So language is an integral part of everything that we do in a school, from morning 7:30 to afternoon 2:30. So if a teacher does not teach Pressy writing, if a teacher does not teach slogan writing, children will not be able to make out those things. So the English teacher collaborates with the environmental science teacher, and so together they design the project, how to get the children to create inspiring posters, and that's how this is done. So then here are some grammar concepts that are taught through board games. So Moana, let me tell you, and I think you have been a part of that project as well. When at Sama, we had designed 200 board games. Yeah, we had invited you as a speaker, and you were there. This is 10 years back in my previous school. But in this school where I'm currently the principal, again, the whole project has begun, and our teachers are designing board games for every level. And now, Moana, one step further, our students are designing educational board games.
Oh, that's amazing. I just really love when I visited your school in 2016. I remember the board game exhibition that you put up with hundreds of board games. I was really amazed. It was simply amazing. Yeah.
So the same thing is happening in my new school, and you can see the children playing board games, practicing their English speaking skills. Now, this is an interdisciplinary activity which they do. Like I told you, they are not necessarily sitting in their classes in my school. If you come, please don't come and tell me, Madam Kashmira, your school is all over the place. I am sorry, my school will be all over the place because they are doing activities. So this is our assembly ground, and the teachers have designed a hopscotch game in the assembly ground, and over there they are sitting in the portico where they sit and have their snacks. But when the snack time is over, they will all sit in a round and they will design the web of life, and they will connect their environmental science, how the web of life is made, the food pyramid and everything, and they will talk about it. So the ENV teacher is there, the English teacher is there. They are both helping the children to design the web of life through their bodies, through their placards. So that's how we do multidisciplinary. And then there are some pictures that I haven't got with me, but there are some things that we do, passing the sound, passing a sound. There's a game that you clap and you pass the sound, and then you have to pass the same sound and add one of your own. And so this is the life skills teacher sits with them. She speaks, the children listen, they pass the sound. So again, getting life skills into language. And this one is building your short stories. Now short stories all over the world. Teachers engage a lot of things. I have a few, I had hundreds of them, but we have a few. So these are the graphics that we give them, teach how the story is done. I'm afraid I have added a child's thing or not, but it'll be there. So then we teach them through these graphic story mountains. We talk about emotions when we are developing characters. So we will put slips into it and say, what's the emotion? And the children are going to pick up something, and then they build up the characters themselves. So in a story, if there are two main characters, they build up an angry character or a sad character. We borrow attributes. If they learn how to write, they learn character description. Then there are dramatic dialogues. Mona, tell me when I need to go, because I have a lot to share, but
Okay,
I can
so I'll give you a
stop
break
doing
first. I will continue with Madam Safitri, okay?
Okay. All right.
Okay, Madam Safitri, I know you have a lot to share. I think I have to call you people for a separate slot so that you could actually share all your ideas like for about 2 hours to 3 hours. Now, Madam Safitri, I have a question before you continue with your presentations. Right, just now you talked about dyslexia friendly materials and classroom strategies that you have designed. Right now,
Yes.
to what extent do you think that AI or technology has helped or has transformed learning for students with dyslexia? Is it like have been like really helpful for students with dyslexia with the use of AI to teach them with the use of AI? Can you just shed some lights on it? Because we are I am not from special education school, you see, so you are more experienced in that dealing with dyslexia students. So would you like to share with tell us further before you go on your presentation how the use of AI or technology has helped students with dyslexia, or even the games that you have shared just now, right? The taboo, some of the board games. I think you bought them from US, right?
Yes.
Okay, so would you like to share with us how it helps your dyslexia students?
Okay. Thank you so much for the question, Mohana. Yes. Talking about AI in helping the dyslexic learners or students. Maybe you know speech to text
Uh-huh.
application, right? As we know that students with dyslexia usually has problem with letters or reading, yeah, something like that. So by using speech to text or text to speech, yeah, it can help them better to understand the text rather than they have to read the text just read the text, yeah, something like that. So yes, I can say that technology or AI like that one that I just mentioned can help them in learning English. And for also the activities like as I mentioned before, literature circles, something relating with reading in group. Yeah, it also can help the students with dyslexia to understand the text more. Yeah, so I can say that by employing literature circles, not only help the students with dyslexia, but also can be what is it beneficial or useful for normal students. Yeah, I'm not saying that the dyslexic students here is not normal, but they just have a kind of problem with what is it cognitive process. Yeah, as we know that sometimes the students with dyslexia what is it write letters in flip position, for example, when they want to write B but they write D, right? So that is the what is it main characteristic that I can say. Maybe that is my answer to your question.
Yeah, thank you so much for the answer,
Thank
Madam Sapitri. Yeah, that's very enlightening.
you.
So do you want me to go to the next slide?
Okay, please. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So I would like to continue my presentation. I'm really sorry because there were some technical issues, yeah, relating to internet in Indonesia. So the next one is this is a kind of what I can say like program or step, yeah, for inclusive education or inclusive classes, yeah. So the ideal classroom that stands for inclusion, differentiation, empathy, and accessibility and literacy. We do hope by employing this, all of the students, including the special need one, or maybe the dyslexic students or the ADHD students, can can still get the same learning experience. Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay. This one is crucial in in designing our learning. The Universal Design for Learning, or UDL term, actually principles, as it can offer multiple means of engagement, representation, and expression. You can see that so many kinds of modality in our teaching or in learning can help the students to to learn more effectively. Yeah, for example, like the using of video, audio, and text, and also the activity of speaking, writing, drawing, and recording, and also interactive games, for example, like board games that I and Kasmira have mentioned before. And also by using this principle, we can foster a flexible learning environment with clear routines, checklists, and student voice. You can hear the student voice. Okay, and the next one, please. So in this situation, we do hope that each student gets personalized scaffolding. For example, a dyslexic learner might respond to a story through drawing and voice notes instead of traditional writing, as we know that they have a little problem in absorbing writing and text or reading. So we need to personalize their learning, of course. Yeah. Okay. And in my previous school, I had some students who had a characteristic of dyslexia. They they were really enthusiastic in learning reading, particularly when they use audio text rather than just original text that they need to read and answer the question, something like that. Okay, next. So I can say that this innovation have had a real impact, but of course we need to empower teachers, yeah, through this innovation. Yeah. So our national curriculum, that is called Curriculum Merdeka in Indonesia, really encourage teacher autonomy. So in this case, many of us as teachers create our own context like ebooks, video lessons, and interactive modules for our teaching and also for the learning. So in Indonesia, we also build professional learning communities, or PLCs, and engage with MGMP. MGMP stands for Musyawarah Guru Mata Pelajaran. It's a kind of teachers association, local teachers association, or teachers group that function to share resources and ideas. So in this places, we can share our ideas, our teaching problems, and so on. And how about the innovation impact into learners? Yeah, of course, the innovation have had a real impact. Like students are more engaged and confident, and also being more motivated to learn, and also they develop digital literacy and teamwork skills. and learners with differences feel included and capable, yeah. So nobody left behind, yeah. So for the future direction, I mean for the planning ahead to move forward, we in Indonesia need to bridge digital equity gaps across regions. So not only in big cities like Jakarta, Surabaya, or Medan that can have a more advanced education. And also we need to provide ongoing teacher training in technology and inclusive pedagogy. And this is still in big process supported by our government here. And also we need to foster global collaboration and share open resources. And we need to continue build classroom that are inclusive, student-centered, and culturally responsive. Yeah. So to conclude, I can say that the future of ELT in Indonesia is bright, yeah, by integrating tradition and technology and keeping inclusion at the center, we can make English learning meaningful for every student, yeah. Okay, next. So, what I have presented before about literature circles, the use of AI, like ChatGPT, character AI, and so on, I have already written them here, yeah. I'm not selling my books here, but if you want to get the books, you can just click and then or you can just go to Google Play Book. You can get the the ebook. Some of them are written in Bahasa Indonesia, but don't worry, the others are written in English. Yeah, so Kasmira can read them probably. Okay. Next. I think this is my last slide because it is said thank you. So thank you so much for listening to me. I give back the time to Mohana. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Madam Safitri, for your sharing, yeah, on about the use of AI, or be it with dyslexia students and so on. Now for today we have like two teachers here today, like one Madam Kashmira, who is a principal, who actually shared a glimpses of what are the things that she has done in a classroom with the some ideas. I think she has ideas on the use of technology which she has not shared, but she said she shared a lot of ideas which may seem to be traditional to all of us, but she actually explained to us on the impact that it has on students, scientific impact that it has on students. And on the other hand, we have another technology enthusiast, Madam Safitri, who innovative projects are very helpful to her students. Now, to the two of you, Madam Kashmira, Madam Safitri. Now, to teachers, okay, around the world, what are your advice in terms of exploring innovative ideas? How can teachers actually look for innovative ideas? Like, I'm sure both of you have a lot of ideas that you explored, you came up with. Okay, so what kind of platform that teachers can look for to get ideas, or like any ideas on how they can come up with these innovative ideas? So who would like to respond first, Madam Kashmira or Madam Safitri?
Maybe Kasmira? Yes.
Okay, Madam
Oh.
Kashmira, yeah.
So I think because Safitri has written a lot of books on it, I have authored books, but not on AI, but I have authored textbooks and all that. But I must tell you, Mohana, that AI is a great platform. So our teachers are learning how to use this tool, draft the best of prompts so that whatever is their learning objective, they achieve it through. So on the one hand, the teachers are learning how to maximize AI because it's not stripping them of the creativity. It's actually adding on to the, because nowadays, it's a boon and a bane, as you know. You ask a child to write an essay, and next day you'll have it. They've generated it through whatever AI platform they use. Yeah. Of course, we shed tears of blood. You grade them all the time, and what we hold our hands in our heads and think, when are the children going to write themselves? So this is a bane. All the teachers across the
I think that
country
is
are
a
suffering.
universal problem.
Yeah. So then it's a boon and a bane, right? But this is a wild horse, and we need to know how to leverage the white horse and how to straddle it well and how to work well with it. So I think the teachers who plan projects in which the children have to write something, they need to be better equipped with how, what kind of project that they are giving, that the children will research more but then get real life experiences based on their personal lives or their community lives, and then make it like that. Otherwise, if they say research and bring it there, the world wide web is enough for them to, give them uh, uh, bites, that nuggets that they have to just chew the cud and present, I would say. So our teachers are using it to devise the best of the prompts so that the children create they ask children to project what is based on their real life learning. Now, other than that, there are a lot of platforms they are using. For example, if they've created something, they put it up on a Padlet wall or a Kahoot. They do a lot of they do it on a Wakelet wall. So you will see many of my children's works are up there on the Wakelet wall, and then the teacher grades the Wakelet wall. She doesn't have to take paperless teaching. It's all up there. They are using a lot of programs to make their films. Yeah, so there are a lot of tools that they are using to make videos. Video making is a uh, big in thing today, because children are digital natives, as you know, and they need to use tech to present themselves. So some of them who want to talk, they come out and they say, well, I'm not using a video, but I'm going to talk about it. Some of them who are good with tech, they say, okay, I'm going to make a Canva presentation, or I'm going to make a video film presentation. And or some of them say, we put our group together and our group is up here on Wakelet, please have a look. So according to their capabilities, because all of them are not good for everything, so the teacher makes groups according to their capabilities, and then they do their presentations. But I'm sorry if I came across, our school uses a lot of tech. Yeah, it uses a lot of tech, but again, tech to design, tech to present, tech to as a dive board. But again, we make sure that the human element is there, because if you take away the human element from the tech, then it's difficult to know whether it's tech or the human, your idea or the tech's idea. So there has to be that human element always. That's all.
Okay, thank you, Madam Kashmira. Yeah, Madam Shafitri. So yeah, you have you have written a lot of books. You have done a lot of amazing projects like with whatever that you have said. Now, where did you get all these ideas, and how can you suggest to teachers? Like that I have come across teachers who say that I do not know how to get an innovative ideas. I do not know how to go about doing innovation and so on. So where do you get these ideas and energy to do all this, Madam Safitri? So would you like to share a little bit on that?
So that is good question actually, yeah. The ideas and also the energy, yeah. Okay. So probably what I have written in my books or maybe in my other publication, the point is I have done it before in my classroom, my own classroom. So I can tell people through my writing, right? So the ideas actually before I become the teacher of my current school now, I taught in special school for athletes, yeah, for 14 years, yeah. So that athletes are special students, yeah, but they are not like special needs students that have autism, dyslexia, or ADHD, yeah, but they have special abilities, probably like kinesthetic intelligence that is more um, rather than the other, what is it, intelligence, yeah. So at my previous school, I needed to think so hard to make my students love English, particularly my lesson, yeah. Because as you know that uh, my students were really tired of practicing every day. So when I was teaching them just like giving them speech, giving them material on uh, writing on the whiteboard, they slept on their desks. Yeah. So that's why I needed to think so hard how to wake them up, how to make them happy in learning English. So I tried to employ many things like scavenger hunt, and then ask them to learn by using their handphone. Yeah. So I was lucky because my previous school allowed the students to bring phones into classroom. So I used the opportunity to make my students learn. Yeah. I even asked my students to talk with AI in every meeting of my lesson. Yeah. So my students were really familiar with Replica, with Character AI, and also another platforms like Canva, Padlet, and so on. So I think I got the ideas from my teaching experience. So if you ask me about the energy that I have, because I love to explore, yeah, explore the condition of my own classroom. So maybe that's I can say. And I would like to add what Kasmira has said before about AI. Yeah, like white horse or white horse. Yeah, it's a kind of horse that we need to what is it to control. Yeah, because as we know that AI now is a kind of what is it really powerful things. Yeah, not only for the teachers but also for the students, right? So the use of AI nowadays can be positive, can be negative, as we know that now all of people know AI, right? Even my students in my current school that is still in ninth grade of junior high school can use AI for submitting their writing tasks. Yeah. But we teachers can, what is it, can detect, oh, this is created by AI, not originally created by our students, right? So maybe what I can say is we just need to be aware of the use of AI, particularly when the AI is used by our students. Yeah, we are not what is it forbidden to use AI in our classroom, but please uh, use it with clear purpose. Yeah, what I can say here is just think about the pedagogy first, just think about our lesson target first, and then we can use the tools as the what is it, the assistive tool, something like that. So that's all, Mohana, what I can
Oh, thank
say.
you so much, Madam Safitri. Now, I think we have come to the end of our session. Now, it's like the 1 hour we had together, the three of us, I think it passed really very fast. And I believe there's a lot for us to learn from the two of you. I hope that in future I can have another session specifically, like probably a 1 or 2 hour session where we can actually share our ideas other than this platform. And I really hope that we can collaborate in the near future with some programs that we can get from our global teacher grant, that we can work together on something collaborative between India, Malaysia, and Indonesia, which would be a great thing. I hope that can really happen. Now, any final word from you, Madam Kashmira, before we end this session?
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for making me a part of this global project. I am feeling very proud and privileged. And I want to wish all the best to the teachers, English language teachers who are out there, because ELT is a like every other subject. We can't take it for granted. It's the most difficult because one has to that's the basis for every other, your books are in English, the science books, the doctors read an English text, the engineers read an English text. So language is the anchor stone. Yeah, so all of us are doing a good job of holding that anchor stone together. So all the very best to all of you, and have a great teaching year ahead.
Okay, thank you, Madam Kashmira. And what about Madam Safitri? Any final word from you? Parting words from you?
Okay, thank you so much. Maybe the same with Kasmira. I would like to say thank you so much for inviting me. It's really an honor to be able to share with you all here. Yeah, from what I have employed in my own classroom, and probably my message to all of English teachers everywhere. Yeah, particularly in Malaysia, Indonesia, India. Just keep going. Yeah, just keep giving the best for your students, whether you use AI technology or not using anything, but still be yourself and believe me that your student what is it, still need English in their life. Yeah, because as we know that English is really useful for everything. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so finally, thank you so much, Madam Kashmira and Madam Safitri, for being with us for the I Teach International Colloquium. Your presence has really made an impact in this colloquium. Thank you so much. So till I meet you again, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Okay, with that, thank you to Madam Kashmira and Madam Safitri for being with us today. I'm sure we had a lot of ideas that was exchanged that came across from Indonesia and also from India. So back to you, Evelyn.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mohana. And thank you also to our two distinguished distinguished speakers just now, Madam Kashmira and Madam Safitri. That was a really eye-opening session. Thank you for sharing with us many different innovative teaching approaches, including for students with special needs. Yeah, so hopefully this has inspired all of us to come up with our own innovative practices and make language learning a really fun experience, yeah, for all our students. Okay, maybe some of us would also like to, adopt and adapt, yeah, the practices, the approaches that the speakers have shared in our own classrooms as well. Okay, so once again, thank you, yeah, to both our speakers for spending time with us today. Okay, now we have moved to our final session for the day, which is entitled From Advocacy to Classroom, a Journey of Meaningful Change. And to share her thoughts with us on this matter is Madam Juliana binti Shaharom, SISC Plus Officer from Kintau Utara District Education Office, Perak. Before I invite Madam Juliana for her sharing, let me briefly just go through her biodata. All right. Madam Juliana was formerly a legal advocate, actually. Yeah, she started as a legal advocate, not a teacher, who transitioned into the field of education as an English teacher and debate coach. Her professional interests lie in teacher development programs that aim to elevate the quality of English language teaching and learning. She previously served at Sekolah Tuanku Abdul Rahman, Star, Ipoh. I'm sure many of us in Ipoh, we know this school. She was there as a Guru Cemerlang, or excellent teacher, where she actively spearheaded initiatives to enhance students' speaking skills. Now she holds an LLB honorary degree from Aberystwyth University, UK, and was the proud recipient of the Justice Sir T. Muthuswamy Year Award in 1997, which is an award presented to outstanding law students of Asian origin for academic excellence. After practicing law for several years, she discovered her true passion for education and finally made the career change in 2004. Since then, she has presented her research at various professional platforms on topics such as pedagogical practices and classroom assessments. In her current role as an instructional coach, she has co authored the book Realizing Assessment in Learning, and earned a Gold Award for her innovative educational card game called Grammatopia, which supports sentence construction skills among learners. Okay, so without further ado, let us all welcome Madam Juliana to the stage. On to you, Madam Juliana.
Hello, thank you very much uh, for the introduction, Evelyn, Miss Evelyn. Okay, hi, good morning, everyone. It's an absolute pleasure to have everyone today and speaking at this colloquium where we all celebrate not just the subject we teach, but the remarkable journeys that we heard from all the speakers that we presented or talked just now. So, my name is Juliana, a former lawyer, and I made the switch to become a teacher. All right. So, just a little background about myself. I'm currently an SISC officer, which is an instructional coach for language in Kintau Utara. Okay, on to a bit about my background. Next. Okay, I'm like what Ms. Evelyn mentioned just now, I'm one time an advocate, an English teacher, and a debate coach. So a brief about myself is that I never thought that one day I'll become a lawyer. I never thought that one day I'll become an English teacher. I never thought that one day I'll coach a debate team that travels around the world. Um, I was born in a family of teachers. My father is a teacher. My aunties and uncles are all teachers. My in-laws are teachers. So never in my life that I want to teach. That's not a vocation that I aspire to become. I aspire to become an engineer. I'm a person of many talents, a person of many interests. And I find that lawyering is confined to a certain aspects of my talent. So I every day when I go to the courtroom, when I do a lot of commercial documents, I always wonder what can I do more? How can I make a difference? What is my purpose in life? It's just to listen to problems every day or find new solutions to problems and taking time to read and read one story after another, evidence after evidence. So I'm searching for meaning. I'm searching for what's there in life because as lawyer, um, you practice law with intensity. You every day, every case is just like an exam. You're taking exams like continuously. So sometimes it can take a toll, right? I became a lawyer when I became a teacher when there's not many lawyers to make the switch. There are many teachers who became lawyers. I met them every day in court, and then somehow they have a certain aura about them. They have this wonderful confidence, uh, how they speak in with clarity in the courtroom. So it inspires me. I mean, what makes them different? What makes them have this confidence whenever they speak in court? So I do have wonderful chats with them, heard their stories, but I can relate to that because I'm born in a family of teachers. All right. Why do I make the switch? Okay. Well, the legal profession is demanding, intellectually rigorous, and at times thrilling. Yeah, I don't deny that it can be thrilling, especially when you have cases where you want to serve justice, when you want to think to bring solution to problems where your clients come to you with. You want you find that that is a very honorable profession. But sometimes whenever I introduce myself to people, I'm a lawyer, then they were like, oh, they make faces and they feel, oh, you're going to hell or you are going to make someone miserable. In a way, yes, I do make someone miserable. Whenever you are in court, there are always a party who will be miserable. There's a party who be sad because it's always two side of in the courtroom, and then at times you wonder whether you actually do justice. But I can justify my actions by saying I'm doing my level best to defend my clients, right? Next slide. Why the switch? Okay, they came from that wonder. What I crave was meaning, a meaningful life, and then especially sometimes when you go to court and deep down you feel like, okay, this person may be wrong in a way just because due to technicalities, or may just because sometimes their lawyer are not doing their job properly. So that somehow make me wonder, am I in the right profession in a way? But you see, whatever you do, you always do your best. Whatever you do, you always you achieve the result you wanted. And then whatever you do, you must serve the purpose of your existence in a way. So I wanted to build something that lasts, something to inspire, something to connect. And over time, I realized that being me, I have many interests, I have many talents. So where can I practice all that? Where can I practice all the likes and the interests that I want to do, but I do not have the time because of the time I spend as a lawyer. It can stretch to overnight, it can stretch over the weekend, and then may lose my weekends. I travel around the country over can be a week long, and then somehow it prevented me from doing things that I like, something that I passionate about. So I am not an adversarial person in nature, so I don't like to argue that much, but I like to reason. I like to find evidence. That's something that I like. But in the end, I realized this interest revolves to one word. Why do I like all that? Why do I like to read so much? Why do I like to speak and ask and about and to exchange experience with people? It boils down to one word, which is language. I realized I love language. So that's when I make the shift. So how I realized how language itself shapes thoughts, builds societies, and open opportunities. So teaching English offered me that opportunity to use all my passions every day. And then for me, like every day going to class is like having fun. Every day going to class is try something anew. Every day going to class is come with the hope of inspiring young minds to be their better self, right? So teaching English offered this opportunity, and then in the hope that one day, whatever you teach them, how you teach the language, how you make them love the language, and then it could change their life, and then could make them see the world through language. Okay, next. So when I make the switch, I wonder what can I bring to the classroom? What do I have that can make a difference? What do I have can expand their horizon? What do I have that can make their life meaningful? So when I first joined Sekolah Tuanku Dr. Arman, the students in the school are mostly Malay students, right? So some of them do not speak the English language as their first language. But in order for them to effectively use the language, it must come with certain skill that I can impart, skills that I can transfer, which is one of it is analytical skill. So being a lawyer, when you deal with a case, you have to dissect the case, and dissecting a text, analyze it, break down into certain chunks, and then this analytical skill can be used when we help the kids to dissect texts given to them, analyze a poem, break down grammar rules, and then find and develop an analytical eye. The other things that I can impart is public speaking and rhetoric. Years in the courtroom honed my ability to speak with clarity and persuasion. In the classroom, this helps students to engage in confidence when expressing themselves. So I had the opportunity to practice the strategy that whenever you want to persuade someone, it falls into four things, which is the pathos, ethos, logos, and kairos. When you want to speak confidently, make sure you can touch them emotionally. And then when you want to speak effectively, you must have logic to logos. And you want to make your communication more effective, you must have what we call the ethics to create the ethos, to create credibility. And lastly, you must have kairos, which is you must speak in a timeliness manner. So that will make them learn, okay, in order for us to speak, it's not to regurgitate all those words, but you must consider all these 4 aspects to make your communication effective. So in critical reading and writing, the legal documents that I have to go through every day requires careful reading and precise language. So this prepared me well for teaching in the school that I've taught before, especially in creating argumentative essays or narrative essays or factual essays, because you need to develop this critical skill. Because in order for you to write, you need to read first. So in order to get the things that you from what you've read, you need to develop this critical thinking minds. So I added perspective. I teach them how to think critically with the text given to you by looking at things from different angle. And then another thing is, one of the skill that you can transfer in teaching from advocacy to classroom is using the questioning techniques. So I teach them how to use the Socratic methods in questioning, in order for them to go in more depth as to what being presented to them, either from reading, either from viewing, either from listening to text. And then also had the opportunity to transfer the power of empathy and negotiation in the classroom. So all this somehow make my lesson more interesting and help me to make lessons more engaging, right? Because all this is the skills that not only important in the classroom, but it's actually skills that are important in our life themselves, our life as well. Sorry. So I find joy in that. I find joy that at first I was like, what can I do? How can I transform the lesson? How can I make a difference? How can I make my lesson more interesting? So I tried all this, and somehow it helped to create an engaging lessons. Okay. I remember when I first entered the classroom. I mean, during the first year of my teaching, I used all this, but somehow in the end, it didn't get the result I wanted. There is the reason why. The reason being, whenever you teach, it's not just transfer of knowledge, but it's also understanding your students. Understanding your student, who they are, their background, their skill set, their economic, social background somehow helps to engage them and to help them improve in learning. So the first year of my teaching, I didn't get many A's in my classroom. So somehow that frustrated me, because before this, the previous year, everybody in that batch managed to get A. So I'm like somehow the person who broke the record for not getting the students the A's they wanted. But over the years, I discovered teaching is not an individual thing, because I came from a advocacy background. You are on your own. You are on your own trying to solve your students, your clients' issues, your clients' problems. You are on your own to find ways to solve it. But as a teacher, you cannot work alone. You need to collaborate. You need to learn from the seniors. You need to learn from the juniors. You need to speak to everybody that become the stakeholders in the school. Then only you can come up with a meaningful lesson. So I learned the painful thing about being a silo. So I talk to the seniors. I speak to the alumni. I spoke to teachers who previously taught in that school, and somehow that changed my lessons. Okay, next. Okay, what does that, like, as I mentioned, so how does it impact the classroom? So as a lawyer, I help them to look things from the fresh perspective. For example, when you look at the document, when you look at the text, you always come up, how to develop that critical thinking is um, to look at things from this different perspective. So I used to help guide them to brainstorm through what we call the SPLEAM technique, SPLEEM, where how you look at the text or whatever being presented to you from the social aspect, how you look at the points or issues presented in the text from the legal aspect, or how do you look at a certain argument from but how it impact environmentally, how it could have impact economically, how it could impact ethics, and how it could affect morality. So when you look at things from different angles, it helps students to come up with new ideas, come up with new arguments, come up with things to expand their thoughts, right? So that's this very engaging, because from these activities, from this strategy, I managed to make the student more open to questioning, open to speak out their minds, open to not criticize, but not to critique, but not to criticize, but come up with a critical response to anything that being presented to them. So this make the classroom more alive. And then as a lawyer, you develop the storytelling techniques in order to persuade the judges about what's happening to your client and how they come about to in their legal dilemma, and how this change how they react or respond to a certain legal issues. So that makes the classroom alive too, the power of storytelling. And then as a lawyer, I'm trained to become a result-oriented person. So in having a result-oriented style of teaching, you manage to do things what we call backward learning. Okay, this is the result you wanted. This is the end that you want to achieve. So you go back to look for evidence. You go back to look at what are the steps I can do to achieve that result, to achieve what I wanted, to achieve what the student wanted. So these help them to train their thoughts in order to achieve what they need to achieve in a writing task, for example, to break down everything into small, like let's say you want to train them to to produce A plus essay. You break down the essay into what are the criteria of an A essay. So you do one by one, deal with all the skill one by one. So I wouldn't ask them to write the complete essay from the very beginning, but I break down the rubrics into small skills that need to be developed. So I will do that one by one. Develop that skill from the very beginning, just the first sentence. Then after that, go to the thesis sentence. And after that, go to the topic sentence. And all the words like how you use the pathos, ethos, logos, and kairos in their writing. Right? So that helps them to produce an A plus essay. So this in the end become very fulfilling, how you see sometimes kids are writing without any soul, without any, there's no tone in their writing, but in the end, they manage to do that. And then, of course, the power of critical thinking, how we use the Socratic method to question things. Like when people are presenting something, you ask, you summarize first, what are they saying? And then later you can talk about, after you sum up, you ask, where's their evidence? What are the things that we can support what they say? What do we know that can justify that? Or what have we learned that can conclude that as the truth, for example? And then the next thing in Socratic method is that you challenge all the assumptions that the person are saying or the text is saying. And then find any exception for the things being said or for the things being written. What are the exceptions to all this? And then later, lastly, you develop arguments going against or supporting that. So this makes the lesson alive, especially in the communicative classroom or when you have a collaborative activities in the classroom. So the boys get to go around and present their ideas better in that way and more structured. And then in the classroom, of course, by doing this, it improved communication because I taught them how to listen actively using, like I said, using the Socratic method, summarize it, try to think of evidence, see whether there's any assumption, whether there's any contradiction, and in the end, develop argument. So that's how they find the lesson interesting and engaging, and in the end, they manage to do this in their debate training. So from debate training, I've seen how students who do not speak that well but have the ability to think, but over the every day they come to practice using the language. In the end, they finally make to debate at the international platform, and then even their parents were surprised to see how their child at home never utter a single word of English, but in the end able to speak on the stage confidently. So before I joined the school, the students are very afraid if they are given, not afraid, they are not comfortable if they are given the opposition side in a debate, because they feel that, they used to memorize things, they used to only see one side, only see the truth in the statement, but they haven't developed what you call it critical thinking. So by using all these skills that I managed to transfer in the classroom, in the debate club, they managed to become better speakers and won various tournaments. So that is something that I find fulfilling, and hope that, and in fact, some have become lawyers, some became motivators, and some even became teachers themselves, right? And then one of the things that somehow make me happy is to see that these students can speak well, speak their mind, and using the language that we are targeting, which is the English language. So that is really enriching, and I would say rewarding as well. Okay. Next. Okay, the challenges. Of course, bringing in all your skill from your previous vocation, from your previous career, pose challenges. Of course, the transition, there's a transition struggle. It's all not that smooth. I leave behind a familiar identity, something that I like, hoping to be like those in paper chase. Now I become a lawyer, but then stepping into a new profession can be daunting. Of course, at first there was a financial and societal adjustments. There are certain privilege that lawyers enjoy, but teachers do not receive. And then there's also a new skill set that I had to learn, which is learning pedagogy, classroom management, and curricular design. Last time when you are in court, you're the only one speaking. But then in a classroom, everybody is speaking. There are 30 boys who are speaking at the same time. And how do you control that? You cannot bring the ballot and then ask them uh, to quiet down. It's not that simple, because you want to develop communicative skill. At the same time, you don't want to scare them for not speaking the language. So thank God for teaching. At that time, we have I didn't know it was PLC, or Professional Learning Committee, but because of this Professional Learning Committee, it helps me to develop all these skills. And learning new skill set is interesting for me because I love learning. Something that I like to do, I like to read, and then these two interests of mine somehow blend in with teaching. Being a teacher, I can use all the things that I like. I like to read, I like to sing, I like to dance, I like to watch a lot of movies and drama that I can use in the classroom, and then to inspire them to use the language and improve their life skill. So that's the joy that I receive in being a teacher. But what I've gained a lot, a sense of purpose that fits me with energy every morning. It rewards me with genuine relationship with the kids, because what I had previously is just a lawyer and client relationship. It may end after you get paid. Uh, but with students, our relationship lasts forever. They still contact me from time to time, and sometimes when you go everywhere, you bound to see your students somewhere, and happy to see how they have developed into a beautiful human being or contributing citizens for the country. And then I like the reward is that to work with wonderful people who are passionate about changing life, who are passionate about language, who are passionate to see how language can affect or transform lives. And then the joy of watching student grasp new concept, find their voice, or write their first brilliant essay. And above all, the satisfaction of knowing that every lesson is a step in building someone's future. That is the beauty of teaching language. Okay, next. So, what's my message for this short session that we have today? Message to my comrades, message to my other language teachers, English language teachers. Never underestimate the value of your background. Look into yourself deeply, find what I have, what I could have, in order to change life through language, right? And then authentic passion matters a lot. You have to be passionate about learning, passionate about understanding your student, passionate to make a difference in their life. And then we have to understand that we are not just English teachers. We just not merely teaching English language. We are teachers through English. We teach courage, we teach empathy, we teach structure, and then we teach self-expression. Right? So basically, we are the catalyst for change. Okay? Next. Oh, I'm ending my with one quote. Language, when taught with heart, becomes more than a subject. It becomes a lifeline to some, to many. Right? Thank you. That's all I have to share with you. So I'll be taking questions now. Thank you very much.
Okay, are there any questions from the floor? Anything you would like to ask Madam Juliana? Or maybe just to share your comments? Cikgu Tivia here shared that the best recognition is to be recognized by our own students even after many years and updating us about what's new in their life. Definitely.
Yes,
Right?
definitely, definitely, Divya.
Yes. Sometimes we don't see our effort, we don't see the result immediately, but after many years, we see their success and we feel, oh, we have done something. We have
Yeah,
made
you
a
see them
difference.
blossom. So that's the
Yeah.
wonderful thing.
And Cikgu Wahida here says that she agrees about public speaking. She did a seminar simulation on a popular topic and it was highly engaging for the students.
Definitely. So do continue to do a lot of speaking activities because developing RLC is important because that's the way we communicate and engage people. If we just do writing and reading, we don't get to see how well our student master the language, right? So do a lot of speaking activities in classroom.
Yeah. It does apply a lot of critical thinking skills, right? Sorry, some technical errors there.
Just no worries.
All right. Any other questions or comments from teachers, from the listeners? If not, is there any final? Are there any final words from you, Madam Juliana?
Okay, my final words. Don't stop learning. As an English language teacher, please do not stop learning. As you can see how change become very rapid now, especially with the development of AI. Don't stop learning. Continue to develop your skill, expand your horizon, continue to, like Dr. Chong just now mentioned, find ways to incorporate AI, but at the same time don't lose yourself in it. Don't really, because I've seen how a study showed that how our brain size becomes smaller
Yes.
if we continuously use AI. uh, and then I don't want that to happen. So I find joy in learning. So when you genuinely love learning, it can translate to your student as well. So let that teach them how to learn, how to unlearn, relearn. What's it called? Okay, how to unlearn, relearn. I forgot, but something like that. Suddenly, I have like brain
Yeah, really.
fog on a Saturday morning. Okay. So sorry about that.
It's okay. Thank you, Madam Juliana,
Oh,
for
you
your
unlearn, relearn, and
sharing.
unlearn. Oh my goodness. All right.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. All right. Thank you. All right. So, yeah, thank you, Madam Juliana, for sharing about your life experiences and your insights with all of us. Honestly speaking, you are the first person I know who quit being a lawyer to become a teacher. But then again, it's interesting to see how you apply your training and professional background as a lawyer in your new role as a teacher. And from your sharing, I can see that it's really effective. Yeah.
Thank you.
Um, yeah, it was interesting to see how you learn to be an effective teacher through your experiences, your struggles, your challenges, and also how this has impacted your students eventually, in a positive way. And your sharing surely shows us that as teachers, we go through struggles and challenges. But after all the effort we put in, it is heartening to also see our efforts pay off when our students learn from us and make progress in their learning. So thank you also for reminding us to be passionate and never underestimate what we can bring to our profession. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Madam Juliana, for
I'm not
everything.
doctor yet. Okay. All right. Okay. No problem. Thank you so much,
Okay.
Evelyn, for having me and
Yeah.
everyone.
Now that we have completed all of our 3 sessions, we are nearing the end of our colloquium. So now it is time to hear a few words from our president of Melta Perak chapter, Dr. Mohana Ram Murugia. So Dr. Mohana, over to you.
Okay, thank you, Miss Evelyn. Say a good day, everyone, once again, to respected fellow educators and also dear participants who are here today for the finale of I Teach Colloquium. So as we come towards the end of this journey, which is called I Teach 2025, I'm here before you with a heart full of gratitude. Where the Melta Perak chapter came up with the idea of I Teach 2025. Now actually we came up with the idea like in January 2025 with a lot of uncertainties. We do not know how we are going to go about it, but we just wanted to do it. We wanted to do something for the English teachers. We want to create a platform for English language teachers to compete, okay, to submit their innovative ideas. So we came up with the idea in January 2025, and we have been working on it from then till now towards the final day today. And it has been a long journey with a lot of challenges. But I greatly thank my Melta Perak chapter as a chapter leader. I thank the committee that I have who have been working together throughout the project right from the beginning. And I also extend my gratitude to the Melta main committee, Dr. Siva, and so on, for all the support given and shown to us throughout the implementation of iTeach, right from the nomination, right from the beginning when we started iTeach to have it in an online platform. Also, I would like to thank all the judges from all over the world. Okay, thank you for your time, energy, and your truly remarkable time. These judges, they are very busy people, but with the request that we had, can you please provide your professional lenses into this innovation so that we can really get a good judging from all the innovative videos that were sent. They were willingly, for freely, they did it for us. The videos were not few videos. There were many. We had a lot of videos came in, which means a lot of participation that came in, where the judges actually took their time to actually watch the videos and judge the videos. And when we started this iTeach 2025, we were not sure how teachers are going to respond to this, whether they would be interested, whether they would want to submit their videos, whether they would want to submit any videos or share their innovative ideas. But then, once we started with the sharing of this iTeach competition, we had a lot of submission coming in. For that, I would like to thank all the participants. Okay, your participation has been truly remarkable. Your videos were simply amazing. We experienced watching a lot of exceptional videos, groundbreaking strategy, and powerful sense of collaboration, I would say. I learned a lot of new ideas. And the level of innovation showcased throughout the iTeach competition, throughout the videos that was shared by the teachers, showed that the competition, it actually reminded us that classroom is just not a space for learning, but actually it's a space for transformation, right? And so I would like to congratulate all of you, all the participants who submitted your video for this iTeach competition. Be it the winners, be it you are a platinum winner, the gold or silver or bronze winner, congratulations for your inspiring work. And you have set a benchmark for all educators who are striving to make a difference. And to those who did not make it into the winners list, don't worry, try harder, improve, and come back stronger next year. All right? And once again, I would like to, the organizing team, speakers, judges, thank you for your time and dedication. Without you, this program could never become a fruition. So as we conclude today, let us remember that innovation does not end here. Let us continue to learn from one another, build on what we have shared, and carry the spirit of transformation back to our own classrooms. We will share some of the innovative videos on our Melta platform, to share with other teachers the best innovational videos very soon. So just like our page, subscribe our page. Once we share, you will be able to see how these innovative ideas were really good, and you can actually learn something from that. I hope iTeach can come back next year in a wider platform to benefit more teachers. Probably, we hope we have enough fun to do it as a face-to-face event so that we could meet face-to-face and have more engaging and interesting activities. So with that, I thank you all once again, and we shall announce the results in a bit. Thank you. Over to you, Evelyn.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Mohana, for your speech just now. For your info, Dr. Mohana is also the technical personnel for today's colloquium. Without him coordinating things in the background, doing all the technical stuff, I think this colloquium wouldn't have run so smoothly. And he even came in as one of the moderators, for the session. So thank you, Dr. Mohana. All right. So now we have come to the moment that everyone's eagerly waiting for, which is the announcement of the winners, for the iTeach Innovative Teacher Competition 2025. Now, the awards are divided into the following categories: Bronze Award, Silver Award, and Gold Award. And last but not least, we will announce the winner of the Platinum Award, which is the overall best entry for the entire competition. Now, for all the award winners, a digital certificate of achievement will be emailed to you, whereas for the Platinum and Gold Award winners, you'll be getting a physical certificate and a medal mailed to you. Yeah? So if everyone's ready, it's now time for the results. Let's watch the video. Okay, so we have seen the videos of for the winners for each category. So congratulations to all the winners. Yeah. So you will be getting your certificates or even medals soon. Yeah. All right. So thank you to all participants for putting forward your innovative teaching ideas. And we hope that you will continue to give your very best in providing quality education for our younger generation. As someone once said, a good teacher can inspire hope, ignite imagination, and instill a love of learning. So let us all strive to continue making a difference in our students' lives, and from there find meaning and satisfaction in our journey as a teacher and educator. All right, with that said, we have come to the end of our inaugural I Teach Colloquium. Now, the attendance link will be posted about now, yeah, for you to fill up. And it will only be active for a short time, maybe just 5 minutes. Yeah, so please fill up the form as soon as possible. We'll give you a minute to fill up the form. Yeah. So, Dr. Mahana, you can post the link or QR code. All right. Okay, please scan the QR code so that you can fill up the form. This is also for your SPL KPM credit, yeah, for Malaysian teachers.